coming to you live from a future not yet written. It's the 10 Point Podcast, Season 8. Can you believe it? Pointy Awards.
Did you just steal that from Terminator 2 because it was still in your notes by any chance?
No, I actually put it back in again. My name is Bruce, and I am the host for the evening. And the theme for this evening, we mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling, is the theme on the voting panel tonight at the Pointy Awards. First, making an entrance like Maud Lebowski, he's just a cotton-headed ninny muggins, it's Chris.
Oh, if you kept going in the morning, I was going to lift her top up and go, woo!
And secondly, making an entrance like Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Terminator, he's not going to rest until he's pumped everyone for information. It's Andy.
So both of us are naked now.
Yes, everyone is nude upon entering the 10 Point Podcast Pointy Awards. We're the 10 Point Podcast. This is the 8th time we have done an awards show for a season.
If we keep this up, we'll be catching up with the Oscars soon.
Exactly, yes. Definitely, we're getting more and more credible as every award season goes by. These people will be putting them on their CVs to get jobs going forward, all these important
Definitely
awards.
on Wikipedias.
Definitely, Wikipedia. Oh, we should actually start editing that. I don't know.
Just go along and edit them.
Stick it, put that in at the bottom. Anyway, yes, 10 Point Podcast. Stick that in the internet machine. You'll find the 10 Point Podcast website, 10pointpodcast.com. You'll find us on Spotify. That's where you can get all the episodes. I found upon doing the
sometimes YouTube bans us.
I can't remember what one it was, but one was missing this season.
Yep.
It might have been Pick a Destiny potentially. It might have been
I can't remember. It was one that was random as hell. So why is that
one
one
was
banned?
gone. Couldn't get that on
PC in that episode.
Couldn't get that on YouTube, but you can get video versions on Spotify as well as YouTube, the 10 Point Broadcast, which we've still not really ever got to the bottom of why I say 10 Point Broadcaster. It's coming eventually.
Right, okay. I've been packing it, it's found it.
I realised that as I was doing part of the point.
I found it. It's coming.
Right, okay. The 10 Point Broadcast, where we do video versions, which to get far less views than the podcast get listens, but we do appreciate everyone who watches and all of the 2 minutes of hard work we go through.
It's a hard watch just watching us for thingy.
I know, yeah. We'll need to get a proper video editor. Anyone wishing to work for free to edit our podcast into something more enjoyable, please hit us up, 10pointpodcast.com. You can contact us via email there. A Facebook that Andy says he's going to do more with exists, 10 Point Podcast, and a Twitter /X.
Next season we'll start on.
Actually, I'm going to do more with exists too, 10 Point Podcast. All letters, no numbers on both of those. Generally, just type in 10 Point Podcast and you'll find us.
Last season. This season, the start of this season will be all happening as well. We've got a new studio built again. We was building the studio last time. We never got to use it.
Never got to use our podcast, 10 Point Podcast studio.
There'll be another studio coming soon.
I kind of half used it once when I was there.
It'll be more homegrown, this podcast. It'll definitely be very more Scottish.
At some point, maybe in season 9, if not 10, we may well do a podcast all in the same room at the same time. And note to everyone who was paying attention, we didn't start this because of the pandemic. We started this before the pandemic.
Exactly.
So we were ahead of the curve of everybody doing video calls. That's about it. That really becomes it. Everything we've done in between season 8 and 9 will come up on the big debut episode of season 9. There will be a season 9. We've been commissioned again for another season. Somebody out here likes us. It means that we can keep on going.
It keeps us going.
So upon reflection of me doing the Pointy Awards, I saw the last Pointy Awards in my notes, and I was like, I actually could not believe the films we did in season 7 were as recent as season 7, to the point I had to start looking through and double checking. Did we indeed do Space Oddity in season 7 of the podcast, which we did? So things like that. So these two
get that out of our minds because that was horrendous.
I felt like this season.
Right. So refresher for season 8 then. So you guys can get back in. What films does this cover? This little podcast quiz will cover every single film that we did last season so that you, the listeners, and you, the panel, remember what films we're actually talking about.
Right. Drunken Recall. Let's do this.
Drunken Recall.
At least you're not testing us on our taglines again.
So the quiz, the moral of the story quiz. What lessons did the lads learn last year? I have a tiebreaker that does not involve the morals, but I might come to it.
I thought you were going to mix that up. I didn't study for this.
I thought about mixing it up and throwing other aspects in, but the moral of the story is too much fun, and I enjoy So as always, Andy will get given a Chris moral of the story and have to tell me what film that was from, and Chris will be given an Andy
I don't even
moral
remember
of the
half the
I don't even know
films.
my own ones.
I did wonder about giving you your own ones back to you this time, but no. So I don't know why the random generator decided that Chris gets the first question. And Chris, what film did Andy say the moral of the story was? Oh, and as always, they get harder as they go along.
Oh.
Never pick up hitchhikers was the moral of the story for what film, Chris?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That is correct. And that was the easiest because you also gave the same moral, Chris.
Yay!
I would have got that wrong.
Would you? So 1 point for Chris. Andy, what film did Chris say the moral of the story was? Well, Chris does whatever happened over there. Is that a can erupting?
Exploding beers.
He did. Right, Andy, while he's dealing with that, Chris said about what film this? Don't make a film back in the 30s because you'll get fucked up.
What film did we do in the 30s? What?
Well, there's one film and one film only we did from that era.
But Bone Tomahawk.
No, not Bone Tomahawk.
Oh.
The film in question was The Wizard of Oz, is what Chris
Oh,
said,
fucking hell.
referring to, I believe, Munchkins and also Dorothy. Chris, are you okay over there?
Yeah, carry on.
Your
My
question's
ears like
next.
exploded all over me, and I can't put my
Right.
finger at the bottom now.
At the top. Right, okay.
Oh.
Right, if you're with us, Chris, moral of the story, what film? If you were oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Andy said this in which film? If you are living in a big, massive Chinese mansion, don't go to the Wild West. It's just kind of pointless. That was the moral of the story for which film that we did.
Shanghai Noon.
Shanghai
This is-
Noon is correct. Yes, his basically the plot of the film was his moral of the story. For that one, yeah. Andy, surfers are dicks was Chris's moral of which story?
Point Break.
Point Break, correct. So 2-1 in favor of Chris. Chris, see if you can work out the riddle in this one that Andy had. If you are stuck in a room with a saw your foot off. That was the moral of the story for which film?
Oh. I'm hoping it's Saw.
It was indeed Saw, yes. So
Is
that
that
was the moral
still
story.
flop or not, Chris?
I can't take my finger in.
Stick it in your gob.
Oh shit, I soaked my laptop now.
Oh,
I thought I
no.
got tits up and only 10 minutes in.
Chris usually disappears in the middle of podcasts, so I can see why this time. Andy, moral of the story for which film? The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Elf.
Elf is indeed the correct answer. Chris with a 1 point lead still. Chris, another one of my
Put it in your
favourites.
gob.
I'll do the next one.
Which film was this the moral of the story? Don't adopt, or you can adopt, but do your homework first, was the moral of which story that we did.
The fuck?
Who the fuck adopts in one of the films?
I don't even know.
He is right. He has not made up
Weird.
someone adopting. Someone does get adopted in the film in question.
No idea.
No idea. Andy,
Oh,
do
I
you
know what it
remember?
is.
Which one
Is
was it?
The Ring.
It was indeed The Ring, yes.
Ah,
No bonus points in this, unfortunately. I'm not doing it that style.
yay.
He sorted it. Andy, if you want to find something weird, go downtown.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Oh. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Not a good guess, but no.
Ah.
One's two.
It was Gremlins 2, the new batch. It's
I was trying to think of things with towns in it, and that was the one I
was-
had in my head.
when one of the twins finds Gizmo, he said that. So Chris still has a 1 point lead.
God damn it.
Chris, which film was this? The future will try and fuck you.
I want to say Terminator 2.
You're incorrect, Andy. Do you remember which film it was?
Terminator 1?
It was indeed The Terminator.
I already did both in one season.
Andy, tits trump destiny was the moral of which story?
Tenacious D in the fucking
Tenacious D. Andy has drawn even. That's us 3-3 in the
Oh
scores.
boy. Come back.
Chris, which film was this? Don't fuck with the future.
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 is correct, yes. Those were, I don't know if you did it on purpose, Andy, but yeah, Terminator 1 was the future will try and fuck you, and Terminator 2 was don't fuck with the
That's a
future.
coincidence.
Yeah, I thought so. Andy, things get a bit tough here.
Okay.
Especially a perfectly curated quiz makes this hard as well. Andy, which story was this the moral to? Nothing good ever happens at summer camp.
Oh, that film that you picked. No, is it? Wet Hot American Summer.
Incorrect. That is not the correct answer. Chris, do you remember which film it was?
I'm assuming it's Friday the 13th.
It was indeed Friday the
Fuck,
13th.
I knew it was 50-50.
Yes, exactly. So 4-3 in favour of Chris. Chris, always find the eggs.
Always find the eggs.
Always find the eggs.
Wet Hot American Summer?
Incorrect. Andy, do you remember?
Godzilla.
Godzilla was indeed
Ah!
always find the eggs. Andy, shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
What?
The moral of the story was shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
Wet Hot American Summer.
Incorrect. Chris, do you remember?
Rabbit.
It was, because that's the...
Fucking hell.
Was that
I'm
which
just
stuck
stuck in my
out?
boxers here. I'm absolutely soaking in.
Oh, God. That's
Carry
the
on.
last thing we need. Chris, your next moral story. Dream big, Andy said, for one film. Dream big was the moral of the story.
Inception.
Inception is correct. Andy, greatness requires sacrifice.
Ah, shit.
Oh,
I know that one.
that stuff's horrible.
After all that.
Yeah, I know.
Nice. 13 Ghosts.
Correct. Good one. I don't know where you've pulled that from, but
Oh,
yes.
I had Matthew Lillard in my head. I was like,
Right,
Matthew
okay.
Lillard.
So only one behind. Still some questions to go yet. Chris, drugs are bad.
Oh, fuck. Oh, Big Lebowski.
Incorrect.
Ah.
Andy, do you remember which film that was?
Nah, not a clue.
It was Wet Hot American
Fuck,
Summer.
that one.
It finally came up. That was 5.
Oh,
Andy,
what's you up for? Carry on.
because remember they go into town, don't they? And then they get high and
yeah, the
stuff.
big band.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's what it was. Andy, Chris's moral story for which film was this? Be prepared to do the right thing, whatever the cost, makes a man. That and a pair of testicles.
Bone Tomahawk.
Incorrect. Chris, do you remember what that's a quote from?
It's quite wordy, that one.
Yeah. Being prepared to do the right thing, whatever the cost, makes a man. That and a pair of testicles.
Nah.
That was the Big Lebowski. The
Oh.
Sam Elliott said it as part of his explanation about the
Oh,
dude.
yeah, right.
Right, so Chris has a 1-point lead, and you've got one question each to go here. Chris, drugs are bad. What was that the moral of the story to?
Maybe we should do that one.
Yes, we did indeed just do that one. You gave
But I have
this
2.
on. You had 3, and I missed the other one off the quiz. So, but I need the specific answer this time because the other one wasn't quite right. Not been mentioned yet. I don't think you've guessed this one yet. So.
No.
If Andy, I'm assuming you don't remember either.
No clue.
Bad Boys. That was the moral of the story.
Do Bad Boys this season.
Yes, we did. We did do Bad Boys this season. And the
that
final
as well.
final moral story, Andy, if you get this correct, it's a draw, and I've got a tiebreaker. Ooh.
Bone Tomahawk.
Correct. Smart men don't get married was the moral of that story. I need a tiebreaker then. Right. Okay. How many? So who will go first here? Chris has been going first the whole time, and Chris always claims to get screwed over in the quizzes. So Chris, you have to guess first. How many times did the 3 of us, you, me, and Andy, all 3 of us, give the same one thing about a film? How many films this season do we all agree what the one thing was? It's a maximum of 20 and a minimum of none. How many
6.
times did... And Andy, what is your guess?
7.
I knew it! I fucking knew you were going to go 1 up.
Well, he went the wrong way because it was 3.
That's it. We only agreed 3
I
times.
thought it was
We
way
only
more
get-
than that.
Bone Tomahawk, we all agreed that the one thing was the manner in which Deputy Nick
Yeah.
died in that film.
Yeah.
Point Break, we all agreed it's that surfing movie.
Yeah.
And in Terminator 2, we all agreed that the T-1000 is the one thing about Terminator 2. And they were the only, everything else two of us often agreed, and often all three of us didn't agree. So yeah, Chris is the winner of the moral story quiz. But you both, between you, so you got 10 points out of 20. So
I feel like a
that's
loser right now, though. So
He's so
I'm so carry on.
Well, you
We've
should-
got a pair of shots on.
right. Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to milk this for too long, but I'll run through
Another 2 seconds. I'm in my bedroom.
Right. Okay.
Carry
Get
on.
his walloper out.
On to the first award of the evening, then. Chris doesn't get an award for winning the quiz. It's going to be Best Song is the first award. Previous winners of Best Song: New Order, Seal, Rammstein, Johnny Cash, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Bad Boys, What You Gonna Do, and then Axel F from Beverly Hills Cop. They're all previous.
That's a playlist right there.
That should be a playlist in itself,
And I'm
really. I've not started yet, Chris. So the nominees for Best Song for this season, the lads know what they all are. They've all been sent over to them. Jane by Jefferson Starship from Wet Hot American Summer. Juke Joint Jezebel by KMFDM from Bad Boys. We opted not to go for Bad Boys, what you're going to do again. Beelzebub, The Final Showdown from Tenacious D and Pick a Destiny. Follow Yellow Brick Road / We're Off to See the Wizard from The Wizard of Oz. Hello Zep, i.e. the final theme from Saw by Charlie Clouser. The Terminator main title from The Terminator, the first film only. Brad Fiedel, not Bad Friedel, but Bad Fiedel. Lagrange by ZZ Top from Shanghai Noon. Deeper Underground by Jamiroquai from Godzilla. Angel of Death by Slayer that was somehow in Gremlins 2. Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood and the Destroyers from Terminator 2. And then Pennies from Heaven by Louis Prima from Elf.
I had to Google Slayer because I had no idea what film that was coming from.
Did you do it that way? Yeah, because when I give them the songs, they don't know what film it is. So we'll do our usual format of we each pick a bronze, a silver, and a gold medal, and tie ourselves in knots. And we'll stick by going alphabetical order. So Andy, why don't you lead off and give us your bronze, silver, and gold awards? And
right. Well, straight up, I'm going for an honorary mention. It doesn't make the top 3, so I'm getting the ground running.
This is the most nominations for an award, is this one.
Yeah.
Every other award is less.
So purely because it is an ultimate banger and has been in about 12 films, is the Saw Hello Zep.
Yep.
That's jingle.
One of my honorable mentions. There's another one I wasn't expecting.
Since doing the research for this, I found someone had done a playlist that's the Hello Zep from every single Saw film. I put it in the playlist.
Yeah.
I've now added that playlist to my Spotify. It's like you say, it's an 11 Zep song.
It, but it's there. The bass line is there.
Even from 1 to 2, it's amazing how different the song is. But in my mind, it's like, oh, it's that theme. It's the best bit of the whole film. So that was an honorable mention, wasn't it? So
yeah, so honorable mention. So I'm going to hit the ground running with bronze.
Mm-hmm.
So my bronze is going to be Bad to the Bone from Terminator 2. Because in its own content, that scene is iconic, but the song's just a banger. I'm mostly basing these on songs that are bangers, by the way.
Songs about rather than how they fit into the film and all that.
Yeah, which actually that one fits in the film perfectly.
It does.
Silver, however, doesn't fit into the film, but absolute banger. Jamiroquai, Deeper Underground, because
it isn't in the film.
It's in the end credits, but every single time I think of that is Chris's funeral song. So that's how.
Right. Okay.
But it's also just got a belter of a music video, just him going up the steps and Godzilla. It's
yeah, in the movie theater. Yeah.
However, this one fits so much into the film and is an ultimate banger. It's Tenacious D, Beelzebub. That song is my ultimate banger from this one, so that's getting gold.
Gold from Andy. This is especially difficult for me. This one. Normally, I'm all over it. I think the main thing is that I think I pretty much nominated every song here. I think Chris and I agreed on a few. Yeah. I genuinely don't know. Like something like the Terminator main title. That's my ringtone on my phone. Is that so? But that's not that's as much.
I was gonna say I prefer Terminator 2's version.
I think you could be right. I've also clicked something on my notes that made it disappear, so I need to get that back. So I think maybe Terminator 2 actually might be the actual version I've got. But yeah, that theme is up there. So I'm going to go down maybe the same route as Andy, and just what I think the best songs are. I need to give my bronze to Deeper Underground because that song and maybe music video made me want to go see the film.
Exactly.
It might be what first planted the Godzilla seeds in my mind of why he's the best guy ever. That's my bronze. I am trying to find a way that those aren't the top 2, and I think they are the top 2. Jefferson Starship, Jane is my silver, and I'm going Beelzebub too. Because of all the songs on there, I've listened to the Final Showdown by Tenacious D the most, and it never fails to live up to expectations. Chris, what's yours?
I've got a second honourable mention because I'm surprised you haven't picked this, Bruce. The Man in Me by Bob Dylan. I thought that would have been on the list.
We had a three-way tie for the Big Lebowski, so
Right.
we had to all up because I went Gypsy Kings, I wanted Hotel California, and I think Andy must have had something else. I think you had What Condition My Condition Is In was Andy's favorite.
For
I
some
think it
reason,
was.
this song has just grown on me, and I've downloaded it. So anyway, my actual list is my bronze. You're not gonna like it. I put Beelzebub by Tenacious D.
Right,
Absolute
okay.
fucking banger. But
Tough choice.
my
Tough choice.
silver is Jane from Jefferson Starship. I love that song as well. But my gold, just purely because I've loved it for like 20 odd years, is Going Deeper Underground by Jamiroquai.
Right, okay. So we've actually we've picked the same ones, haven't we? I forgot to actually make sure that Andy had the tiebreaker thing in question because he always does, but we don't need it because there is a winner. Because with 2 gold votes, Tenacious D become the winner of Best Song Pointy Award.
You would
for
hope
season
so. A
one.
film all about songs. You would hope it would be.
I think deep down that's why I had to go to it because it's like it has the best overall soundtrack as well.
Yes.
That film. So that's the winner, Tenacious D, and I will do that to find that later on. A close one, and also the longest list of nominees for the evening. Second award, we'll move on to one of the very most hotly contested awards of the season. There's a few awards that Chris and I nominated 1 million people for, and Best Supporting, because of our long debates over how people fit into the categories, meant the Best Supporting got a lot of nominees. Previous winners, Dave Bautista, Robert Downey Jr., Steve Martin, Gary Sinise, Harrison Ford, G.W. Bailey, and Anna Faris are previous winners.
What a list.
Yes, what a list.
This is why
Nominees.
we're better than the Oscars because of these. Anybody can win.
Anybody, literally anybody could win. So nominees for this season of the podcast: Christopher Meloni for Wet Hot American Summer, Jean Reno, or Rene Russo if you prefer, from Godzilla, John Goodman from The Big Lebowski, Linda Hamilton from Terminator 2. She was also nominated for Terminator 1, but it didn't quite make the cut. Laurie Petty for Point Break, Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz, Matthew Lillard from 13 Ghosts, and Richard Jenkins in Bone Tomahawk. Again, as you said, a mixture even within the nominees there. And it's me to go first, isn't it? So I really need to be thinking hard about this. So they are in the running for me.
She said.
Yes.
He's drunk already.
Honorable mention is for me is Matthew Lillard, because I think I really pushed hard for him to be nominated because I really slated him badly during Scream. And I insisted he get Best Supporting.
He could be saving the Scream franchise, rumours.
It could be. I thought he was going to in the previous one.
Yeah.
So he's only honorable mention for me. But my top 3 undoubtedly are the top 3 that I'm about to give you, but I don't know the order of which they go in. I will go bronze. Unfortunately, I apologise to Margaret Hamilton, but she's only getting a bronze for being the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, because she was the greatest thing in that film. My silver, which is getting weighted because of how good she was in Terminator 2 and also Terminator 1, but how different she was in Terminator 2 to Terminator 1. Yeah. Linda Hamilton gets my silver, but I can't see past John Goodman in The Big Lebowski as being my best supporting actor, so he gets my gold. Chris?
So Christopher Meloni gets my bronze because he's hilarious. I fucking love everything he does. My silver is going to Linda Hamilton. I think she's same with you, Bruce. I've kind of got Terminator 1 in my mind as well. But John Goodman in The Big Lebowski steals the movie.
He does. I mean, it's hard to steal the movie, but he's just so note perfect. Absolutely everything. It's just so good. Andy, what are your votes?
Very similar. Matthew Lillard gets an honourable mention because he was pretty good in 13 Ghosts.
Still shite.
I'm going for bronze. I'm going for Jean Reno as the Mad Frenchman because love that guy.
You loved him in that. You were very pro John Reno.
I'm going bronze John Goodman because he's my guy. He's the best thing about thingy.
Presumably you mean silver. Yeah, you're the first one to slip.
Yeah, so silver, John Goodman, he's my guy and he's the best thing about that. But Linda Hamilton gets gold for me. She is the perfect apex.
That's because she loved being your head after kissing you.
That's right.
She lives rent free.
She does. a very tightly 1 vote difference really made it. There was two goals for John Goodman and 2 silvers for Linda Hamilton. Means John Goodman, Big Lebowski, a well-earned Best Supporting Actor award from all the way back at near enough the beginning of the season. He carried all the way through. He's also nominated in the next category as John Goodman. The next category is the best team of the season. Previous winner, only one, Dominic Toretto's Crew. And I believe that was specifically Fast 10. I could be wrong. It might have been the first one, but I think it was Fast 10. Anyway, the family of Dominic.
I was thinking
Nominees.
I'm thinking.
The nominees. The Connors and the Terminator from Terminator 2. Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion from The Wizard of Oz. The Dude, Walter, and Donnie from The Big Lebowski. The Ex-Presidents, i.e. the bank robbers in Point Break. The Family in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mike and Marcus from Bad Boys. Roy O'Bannon and Chon Wang from Shanghai Noon. And Tenacious D from The Pick of Destiny. They are the nominees for Best Team. Chris.
Okay, so my bronze is the Dude, Walter, and Dory because they were a good little trifecta. They're funny.
Good bowling team as well.
Yeah. My silver, the Connors and the Terminator.
Right.
But my gold, it has to be Tenacious D.
Tenacious D. Shunned and best song by Chris, but you do get the best team. Andy, best team nominations.
I'm going down a similar route, I think, by starting completely different. I'm going for Tenacious D is bronze.
Oh, okay.
They're a good team. They did defeat the devil, but there was a big bit in that film where they separated. So
they did drift apart. You're right.
Yeah. But also speaking of drifting apart, the Shanghai Noon, Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan, they were a brilliant team. They worked as a team, but they did drift apart again. But chemistry wise, amazing.
So they get the silver.
They're getting the silver.
Right.
However, gold, they're just the ultimate team. Mike Lowry.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Bad Boys. That's a team. They bicker, they fight, but they're bad boys for life.
Said the thing. I really don't know what to do with this. This is the real problem this season. Is every nominee that made this point is a winner. Like they could win it. So it really comes down to personal preference or whatever you want to call it. That I could eliminate them. So I'm down to 4. Since they've got nothing so far, I'm giving Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, a Lion, a bronze. I think they deserve something. They were a good team.
They're just on fucking.
That petty vote, Bruce.
It was a bit of a petty vote.
Petty vote.
I'm giving them, but then I don't know where to go with my silver and my gold at all.
I'll
tell you what,
Bad Boys.
I will vote these 2. These are the 2 I'm going for. And actually, what I do doesn't really matter. So in order to solidify them as the winner, silver is a Dude, Walter, and Donnie, because they were so good at bowling and amongst everything else. But Tenacious D, and no matter what I did, Tenacious D were going to win at that point. So Tenacious D are the winner of best team of the season, doubled up already have Tenacious D with being the best team and the best song. I guess that's all they'd be looking for, really.
I'd say that's the category, isn't it?
That's their category, yeah. Tenacious D, the best team of the season. Now, what's coming up next is a rarity. As we've gone through the seasons in this podcast, less and less do we pick on the things that are wrong with films and more do we celebrate the things that are good. So this is one of the very few worst awards of the season coming up next. So worst plan, though, a classic, a favourite. If there's one thing we like to do in the Temple podcast is argue about how stupid people are and what they should and shouldn't have done, hindsight-wise. Previous worst plan winners, poisoning Chev Chelios. That's something
That's a bad plan.
really, every Pointy Awards I've mentioned poisoning Chev Chelios. The Mortal Kombat tournament, the Mummy curse, going to the planet in the first place in Aliens, Face Off, and the premise behind that. Jumping out of a plane without a parachute by Tackleberry.
Tackleberry.
Yeah. And then last season, hunting a lion alone in the dark in crocodile-infested waters.
I thought that was this season.
No, it was not. That was last season. But they're all the previous winners of worst
Been in
plans.
my head for years is Schwarzenegger running down a runway.
Oh,
Yeah.
That seems to be like the worst of the worst plans for some reason.
Getting away from the authorities by just running into a wide open space.
Who was that against?
Mortal Kombat, maybe? Mummy? Maybe the whole reasoning behind the mummy's curse, which didn't make any sense, maybe. Anyway, that's old news. This season, nominees. Dr. Gordon and Adam fake Adam's death in Saw. I don't know if you remember that bit, but we'll come back to that if you don't. Involving Walter whatsoever in the ransom handover in The Big Lebowski. Jumping out of a plane without a parachute in Point Break.
That's familiar.
Leaving a deadly videotape lying around in The Ring. Marcus pretending to be Mike Lowry for 4 days in Bad Boys. Publishing a children's book with blank pages in it in Elf. The general rescue plan that was the premise of Bone Tomahawk, which we can maybe nail down when we get into it. And walking into a stranger's house in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Andy has to go first. Do you want any kind of, I don't know, specifics on any of these nominations, Chris, or anyone?
No, I'm good. Right.
Wait, do you see just a general rescue plan for
in Bone Tomahawk?
No, it's the whole plan was just shit, wasn't it?
Basically, they were like,
four of them going.
The wife's been kidnapped. Okay, the 4 of us will just take off right now, not get any help, and he's got 1 leg, and he'll definitely come with us. And
ultimately, is the worst plan. Go with a broken leg.
Yeah,
the guy with a broken leg could barely ride a horse, so it's
right. I am going with bronze. I'm going for Marcus pretend to be Mike for 4 days because we know that just didn't pan out very well.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for silver. I'm going for walking into a stranger's house in the middle of nowhere. It never ends well. We all know that. Even they knew it. I'm pretty sure they said something in the film as well. However, it's a bad plan. It's jumping out of a plane without a parachute. Point Break, it's gold.
Point Break, a former winner. I know which ones I want. So I'm going to give... Generally, the downfall of the dude in that film was getting Walter involved in everything. So that gets my bronze, is that. But between the other two, I think because of its legendary status, jumping out of a plane without a parachute is my silver. But I really took issue with why Marcus had to pretend to be Mike Lowry. Like, I really don't know what they were going to gain. They just had to be like, oh no, I'm Marcus, but Mike is coming, and here's Mike, here he is now, and it was a terrible decision and plan going forward. So that's me. Chris.
Okay, so my bronze is going to be walking to a stranger's house in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because it didn't end well for anybody. My silver, shit, so I fucked this already.
There's too many good nominees this season. Too many good ones.
I wanted to nominate Walter because you know what he's like. He can't fight well. He's just going to fuck shit up. So why did you get involved? Yeah. But I feel like leaving a deadly videotape, knowing fine well that somebody could just watch it and then start the cycle over again, has to be silver.
Oh, of course, she left it lying around knowing what it was, basically.
Yeah, she left it under a couch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I feel like that's a stupid idea, but jumping out of a plane without a parachute, like if he had just missed that guy, that's it. He's dead. So
yeah, it's a massive gamble that you're going to land on someone who has a parachute. Yeah. So it's not the same film winning twice, but the same bad plan has won twice with jumping at the Tackleberry.
One of my themes next season, I think, should be people jumping out of planes with parachutes.
Yeah, how many films?
Just go skydiving without a parachute because everybody else seems to survive it.
I still stand by that the number of people who were in that plane, there had to be a spare parachute lying somewhere for him to just grab.
The Tackleberries kind of made sense. Like, it wasn't like a skydiving plane. He had to do what he needed to do.
Yeah.
But he just jumped out without a parachute.
Definitely had to be another one somewhere. So yeah, back onto the best stuff again. And we're kind of sort of returning every so often award. Best set of the season. The Atoll from Waterworld was the first winner of this. The Oversized Garden from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was the second winner. And it's been away for a while, but the 7.5 floor from the Big Lebowski from Being John Malkovich was the last winner of this award. But this year's nominations for Best Set: The Bowling Alley in The Big Lebowski, Eddie Valiant's house in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the Emerald City of Oz in The Wizard of Oz, the aforementioned farmhouse in The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Future from The Terminator. Specifically, only the first one got nominated. We didn't nominate The Future in the second Terminator. So
second was better as well.
Oh, unfortunately, it's not nominated. Madison Square Garden in Godzilla, the North Pole in Elf, and then I couldn't come up with the proper word for it, but the toilet in Saw, the main room that the Saw movie takes place in. I guess it's a toilet. They are our nominees. It's me to go first, isn't it? So I need to really
I
think.
just realized how big that toilet is. There was a toilet there and like a bathtub way over the other side. It's like it's huge.
Yeah, that's the concerning thing is there's like no matter what that building was, why is there a bathtub in it?
Yeah.
It's like
Plumbed
a
in as
public
well.
bathtub. Yeah, a public plumbed in bathtub. Right, I'm going bronze for Madison Square Garden for the same reason as Andy's one thing about Godzilla was Madison Square Garden, and he's got a point that I can't not think about that. So it gets a bronze because of that. But outside of that, kinda leaning towards my silver being the North Pole in Elf, purely because one way or another they had to build a big one big one for the elves and a little one for Will Ferrell, and then cut it together, which I love that sort of stuff. But for me, the winner is the farmhouse in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I just love that building. I love the way they showed you what everything was, how it fits. And as I kept on the podcast, that red wall with the cow skulls on it, I just love that. And then the sliding door, the scary noise it would make and all that. Farmhouse in the middle of Texas. That's my gold. Chris.
So my bronze is the North Pole from Elf. I like the wee animals as well, cut together, and like you said, the different obviously levels for the house. My silver is Madison Square Garden because I love Madison Square Garden. I always remember it from wrestling things, and it's an iconic stadium.
Iconic sort of building, yeah.
My gold is the future from Terminator because it was absolutely banging. But Terminator 2 is fucking doubled up on it as well.
I think, is there, I can't remember now even thinking back which one there's more of the future in. I think there's maybe more future in the first one.
Yeah, there is.
The second one. Can't really remember. Anyway, Andy, what's your votes?
I'm going for an honorable mention in this one. I'm going to go for the Emerald City Wizard of Oz. But all the sets of Wizard of Oz, even when they're painted, were spectacularly done.
Basically, yeah, the entire film filmed indoors, if I remember correctly, in Wizard of Oz.
However, I'm going to go for bronze. I'm going to go for the North Pole and Elf because that was what Bruce said. I'm going with that.
Good.
I'm going for silver, Madison Square Garden, because it's iconic and they put eggs and destroyed it and shit like that. However, I am going for gold is Eddie Valiant's house in Who Framed Roger Rabbit because that entire thing was just amazing. It was like high sets, like I said, how they did it, all the puppets were there. It was just so good.
And his explanation is really why I made sure it was nominated because I think it was the same as me, Chris. We didn't really think or know about it when it was being made, but when you think about it afterwards, that's how they
loads of people running under the floorboards at full height and stuff like that, and they're on a massive set. It's just spectacular.
Well, by virtue of being actually voted for by all of us, one way or another, Madison Square Garden has won Best Set, which is a bit unusual. I've still never actually nailed down whether they actually used the real Madison Square Garden for filming or not, because I wasn't able to
no idea
find out one way or another. But yeah, as best I can tell.
Brought to you by American Gym.
With 2 silvers and a bronze.
Half of that already.
Aye.
Best Animal is next. Best Animal, a new award. Best Animal.
Boy.
Best Boy award. Only one previous winner, Sari the dog from Prey, who pretty much stole that film. Well deserved.
I only watched that once.
I think I'm the same. I don't think I've ever revisited it, and it needs revisiting. It was good. Best Animal for season 8, though. Nominees: Not Now Arctic Puffin from Elf is our first nominee. The Boat Horse from The Ring. Boat Horse is how I referred to it.
So, kamikaze horse.
It's capitalized Boat Horse. That's its name now. Boat Horse from The Ring. Ton Wang's horse in Shanghai Noon, who basically didn't need to be ridden and would follow him everywhere like a dog. Gizmo, we have bent the rules to allow Gizmo in from Gremlins 2.
I just realized the next one has to be amazing.
Hank Azaria from Godzilla.
It's gone.
The Marmot from The Big Lebowski. The Snake in Friday the 13th. And then Toto from The Wizard of Oz. Chris, I think you're leading us off.
He's gone.
This is quite a tough one.
Yes, again.
I feel like I have to honorable mention Hank Azaria. That's a great one. That
yeah, that was good. Yeah, we bent the rules for Gizmo, but that's a real bending of the rules. But it was called Animal, so it
works. So purely because it was an actual animal that died, I'm going to say bronze is the snake from Friday the 13th. My silver is the Arctic Puffin from Elf.
Not now, Arctic Puffin.
No, do you know what? Flick it. I'm going to flip them.
Oh, flip them. So a
Trade
bronze for the
controversy.
puffin and a
Yeah.
silver for the snake.
Purely because a real animal died. Got to be good. But the boat horse from the ring, fucking hell. That was
Legendary.
brutal.
It really feels like it should be a different film, that scene. I don't know why it was there really other than just be haunting, but it was sensational. Andy, what's yours?
I'll go for Chris. Honorable mention, Hank Azaria, best animal. I'm going bronze, Toto. He is a good boy.
Ah, Toto.
I'm going for, I would have put Gizmo at this point, but it's not a real animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did bend the rules to allow him in, unfortunately.
Yeah, so not quite, but I'm going to go for the marmot in Big Lebowski because I just always remember that, and that's why I know what a marmot is.
Remember it.
It puts it in the bath. They come in and put it in the bath.
The
nihilists chuck it in the bath on top of the dude.
But
where's the money, Lebowski? They do that, and that's.
I've got to pick a horse, but I'm going for Chon Wang's horse in Shanghai because
cool.
that was one well-trained horse and it is a proper horse rather than a CGI horse taking a dicky dive off a boat.
Right, I know what my 1 and 2 are. What's my bronze? What is my bronze? I'll put Arctic Puffin in just because it's the bronze and it's funny, it makes me laugh. But my silver is definitely Boat Horse. I loved that horse. That was a great scene. But I can't believe that Chris has done this. Also, Andy, get the tiebreaker ready because there's a tie coming up. That snake died on film for that film. I'm giving that poor little snake, a nice little black thing, just minding his business in the jungle, wherever he was, forced to be in Friday the 13th. That's my gold.
Some guy, it was a trainer snake. Apparently, he was standing off set absolutely howling because he killed the snake.
Just chopped its bloody head off for no good reason. I don't remember. Was it? It must have just snuck up as a jump scare, didn't it? The snake, and then it was someone defended themselves by chopping it. I can't really remember the. I think it was in one of the bedrooms or the what do you call it, where the bunk beds are or something. Anyway, we've got a tie between Boat Horse and the snake. So Andy, you need to tie break Boat Horse.
So we'll do odds and evens, so it's got a bigger number range. So you pick one that's a number and one that's odd and one even.
Boat Horse was first, so it's number 1. It's the odds, and then the snake will be evens.
Can you see it?
Wait, not quite, but I'll believe you.
Right, I'm gonna press it. Press.
Work.
Press 7.
A 7, so that's the odd. So the Boat Horse. No, the Boat Horse.
No, sorry, that's first, yeah.
Yeah, number 1. Boat Horse is the winner. Yeah. Lovely, lovely horse. What a way to go. What a scene.
It was a fucking somersault.
Yeah. I still blame Naomi Watts. She had no need to go up and hassle the poor horse. It was minding its own business in that carrier.
Just walk away. If it starts kicking off, it's like, oh, okay, you're bad. I'll just walk away. No, I'll poke you again.
Like, no, stop being scared. Of course, it's going to scare the life out of it. Yeah, the Boat Horse. Is the winner of that one, and Boat Horse is back because our next award is Best Death.
I know what's going to steal this. I've not even looked at it. I know what's coming. I know what's winning.
Previous winners that the winner has to live up to: Death by Unicorn, Neil Patrick Harris; Chest Burster, Skin Ripped Off, Eaten by a T-Rex on a Toilet; Dick Halloran in The Shining; and then a man was cubed last season, which was the best death. Which one, Chris? Which one are you most thinking about?
You said Death by Unicorn.
Yes. That was Cabin in the Woods down the underneath bills.
Ah, okay. Because all I heard was Death by Unicorn, Neil Patrick Harris. I was like, what's happening here?
Neil Patrick Harris and Gone Girl was.
I remember his one now.
Right, nominees for this season: Andrews stabbed in the neck by an oyster in Shanghai Noon; the Boat Horse in The Ring, taking a heater off the back and ending up in the, what do you call it, propeller of the boat; Deputy Nick was wishboned in Bone Tomahawk; Godzilla at the end of Godzilla, an emotional farewell; Kevin Bacon stabbed through the throat in his bed on Friday the 13th; the lawyer was cut in half the long way in 13 Ghosts; one of the punks was punched to death through his chest in The Terminator; and then Xander Berkeley was stabbed through the mouth by the T-1000 in Terminator 2.
It's a lot of good deaths this season.
Yeah, very much so. A lot of people being stabbed with things and cut with things. It's been blades this year. I've completely lost the running order, who's first and all that sort of stuff.
Who did go first last night?
I can't remember. Was it me? No, I think it was me.
Was it?
I did the last
Yeah.
one. I went last because I had to, I
Aye.
wanted it was a tiebreaker. So
So Kristen.
no,
I went first.
because
if
it's
went
you,
first.
Andy. It's
All
you,
right,
Andy.
me. Okay, I'll take it. Right, I'm gonna go for honorable mention. It's not best death. It's a proper sad death, but Godzilla. Also
Godzilla, yeah.
However, bronze. I'm going for Kevin Bacon getting stabbed through the throat in bed because that shut me up.
Yeah, you and I got a big jump scare. Chris didn't. I think he got a worse
Yeah.
one later on in that film. But we,
I then
Oh, yeah.
I always love being like cut in half the long ways, so I'm going for the lawyer and Decking Ghosts. However, gold is Deputy Nick. He gets cut the long way and the balls fall out.
Oh yeah.
He played a backfield at his massive TV just so I could see it.
Yep, missing the balls.
And is he correct then? Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Right. I'd never gone back to look. So
Yeah, but it's in the contents of death. It is a best death. It's a gruesome death. It's not probably not the best. It's not quick, but it's for film wise, it's the best death.
So my gold is also Deputy Nick getting wishboned, reiterating that. So I'm starting with the gold to confuse matters on this one here. I should really have thought longer and harder where I was going next, actually. I think I really wanted Xander Berkeley and the T-1000 getting him. I wanted that nominated because it's a belter of a death. And also because he's a reasonably famous actor and he's just like gone like that in the background
Every
of a
time.
scene, basically. So him, and I will ignore Boat Horse because he's already won again. And I will go the lawyer getting cut in half the long way. I do love a cut in half the long way as well. So that's my bronze. Chris, over to you. You can go back to the normal order if you wish.
So I'll just triple down right now. That gold is Deputy Nick.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
that is ingrained in my brain for the rest of my life now. I can't get that image out of my head. My bronze for me is the most iconic death, one of the most iconic deaths from the film, but the lawyer cut in half the long way from 13 Ghosts. Yeah, no, Silver, Xander Berkeley stabs through the mouth in Terminator 2.
Good. I'm glad that one got more recognition. But yeah,
I
Deputy
agree with you,
Nick.
Pierre, with the whole Boat Horse. It's already been done.
I think so. Yeah. He might well be back again. I can't really remember. In fact, he is indeed back later on, Boat Horse. But the Ring had to get some nominations, and he deserved it. Did the old Boat Horse? Deputy Nick, a well and true, I don't know, earned win for Deputy Nick. I'm not even sure who the actor was that played Deputy Nick for us.
I'll tell you. Spoiler for if Emmy's going to watch that film. It's a series. I can't remember what it's called now on Netflix about a bomb in Vegas. There is a Deputy Nick moment in that. Just pre-warning you.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out for that. Another worst, but a long time 10-point podcast award. Worst father figure. Cooper from Interstellar. Matilda's dad in Leon, not from the film Matilda. Wayne Zielinski from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And then Jack Torrance from The Shining is an all-timer of a bad dad. This season, nominees. Arthur, which is Tony Shalhoub in 13 Ghosts. Dom Cobb in Inception. Dr. Lawrence Gordon in Saw. Grandpa in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Meatloaf in Tenacious D. Richard Morgan, that was Brian Cox in The Ring. And Walter Hobbs, that was James Caan in Elf. I believe it's now me to go first. And Andy went first in the last one, so it's me to go first. A lot of bad dads here. A lot of people that don't really have a lot to answer for, or have a lot to answer for, I should say. I'm going to go, my bronze is Richard Morgan, Brian Cox, Temple Podcast favourite in The Ring.
Okay. I'm not who we are now.
He had his reasons, but like he had a demon child to deal with, but he was still a bit of a bad dad.
That's why you should always check who you're adopting first. Do your
Exactly.
research.
And we also implied that he interfered with horses during that podcast as well, so we could put him down for that as well. And I've got two that I'm trying to pick between here, and they're very different. So on the basis that I can't prove that he is the root of all the problems, I'm going to go Grandpa from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as my silver. So I don't know that it's him that's causing the rest of his family to be the way they are. They might just be feeding him people's blood. And
I never thought of that.
But I think he maybe one way or another was a bad dad too. We're still not exactly sure what the dynamic was there, but if it was the old gas attendant fella was his son, then he's got a lot to answer for. But for me, I still can't quite work out why Walter Hobbs had no home life in Elf. With he's too busy at the office, not paying attention and signing off children's books for 12 and 13 hours a day, that he can't spend any time with his 12-year-old son or whatever it was.
You know what? I've completely forgot about his other son. I just had Buddy the Elf on my head there.
Exactly.
Oh,
And then,
that's a game changer.
yeah, above all else, the way he deals with Buddy. But I mean, that would be quite surprising. So yeah, he gets my gold, does Walter Hobbs. Chris.
Okay, so my bronze is Meatloaf from Tenacious D. I can't use religious and nuthead and all that, but still a bad dad. He struck his kid.
Religious nutheads are not nutheads. Can't prove that.
And he was swearing a lot.
I know he was.
Silver, I am going to put as, do you know what, Dr. Lawrence Gordon, because he had a cushy life. He had a hot wife, he had a kid, he had it made for him, and then he was just banging some random. I've forgotten who I've just picked.
Not proven, no.
Meatloaf. Okay, gold is Walter Hobbs because his son had been. I forgot about his other son, but yeah, his other son in the North Pole. He still treats him as some weirdo, and like he didn't welcome him.
He wasn't happy to see him.
No, and he changed his ways, but he's still bad dad.
I'm going for Grandpa in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because he was actually higher up until Bruce kind of talked me down because he might not have been all bad, but
it might not have been all him. Yeah.
He's the root of that family's issues, I reckon. So I'm going Meatloaf Silver because like he didn't even go back and see his kid in the future or anything, did he? He's just
never came back. Never came back.
Yeah, you think there'd be a reuniting at the end? Oh my god, you just saved us from the devil! No, he didn't even go to one of his shows. Nothing. So he's pretty bad. But not as bad as Walter Hobbs.
Yeah.
He is gold. Like, he is a bad dad. You're right. He literally, all he has to do is sign off books. That doesn't take up all that time. He just didn't want to go back home.
He hated his nice young kid for some reason. All he wanted was a dad. And also, he obviously had him when he was in like his 50s as well. Which is weird.
Just a randy bastard as well.
You know who's lucky? Dominic Cobb from Inception. He's lucky.
Well, I don't know, because you were framed for a murder he didn't commit. Well, no, if you're diving in a rabbit hole, he did commit it, but
aye.
The main problem I have with Dominic Cobb is him, an old annoying ass mole. They decided we're gonna disappear off down into our dreams. It'll only be 10 minutes in the real world. However, I can't be doing with him, and let's go for years upon decades upon it and just get away from our kids that we had. And that's why
I'd like to think that they were being babysat.
Oh, they were.
They weren't just running around causing riots. So fuck you, I'm going for a sleep.
But I don't want to paint you into a corner and ask you tough questions here, Chris. But imagine someone said to you, you and Nicola, you could go and live your lives for hundreds of years and not have to see your kids again for hundreds of years. It's like, would you see that as a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes, it's a good thing.
Okay.
Right, okay. He's not a bad dad. He's just doing what any dad would do.
Argument retracted.
Like, if you've been back into a bathroom just to eat a packet of crisps, then yes, you want rid of your kids.
Right, fair enough. Okay. Retracted.
Oh, Chris just eating shitty crisps.
I'm sitting in the toilet just going, peace and quiet.
Is it even peace and quiet? Is that why you fit the new door?
No, because all you hear is bang, bang, bang on the door. I got your door lock, it works now.
Next nominations, next award even. Best character name. Only ever been one winner, which is Axel Foley, which is a great character name. The nominees for this season: Best Character Name, Chon Wang, which is John Wayne sound alike. Two of us wanted the dude. Somebody wanted Jeffrey Lebowski, but Jeffrey the Dude Lebowski, the whole thing, is nominated. Johnny Utah from Point Break. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mike Lowry from Bad Boys. Roger Rabbit. Tenacious D. The Terminator from the aforementioned films that they would fit into. Chris, it's your turn to go first.
I wish it wasn't, because it's a difficult one. Okay, right, bronze. I'm going to go Johnny Utah because it's quite a powerful name. It's like James Bond. Name's Utah, Johnny Utah.
It's like
Yeah, you're
Jack,
right.
Jack Walker. That's the guy who's going to get some shit done.
Use that on that episode. I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, that exact joke, I think, or that exact line.
I'm good at callbacks.
My silver. I'm gonna go Mike Lowry.
Like Lowry.
But my gold is the Terminator.
The Terminator.
Oh,
It's been used that many times as well. And
controversy.
Shermanator and Bruceinator can be used in anything.
Good point. Andy, what about you?
All right, I'm going just for like proper kind of character names. I'm not going to go like, because I would say Tenacious D is a film title, Terminator's a film title. Honorable mentions, they're banging names.
Character is called the Terminator.
I know it is, and like
100%.
same Roger Rabbit, but it's a film title. So I'm going for Bronze Johnny Utah, because it's like I said, it's a powerful name. That's
It is a
right.
powerful name.
Fuck. I'm going for another beer, by the way. Brace yourselves.
And then I'm going for Silver John Wang, because
Wang.
that's a
funny.
belter.
That's
Absolutely, like it's a pun intended, but they don't even play on that pun at all in the film. It's just amazing. It's great.
Not till the very, very end they play on it. Yeah.
However, it's always in my head. Like for 25 plus years or how long this film is Mike Lowry
Michael
from Bad
Lowry.
Boys Gets Gold. It's I don't know why it's such a mundane name, but just the way he says Lowry, and it's like Martin Lawrence saying it. It's just brilliant.
Exactly. It's the way he plays it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I want to go against what Andy's saying. I think Tenacious D is a hilarious name for a band. And like the fact that it comes from basketball and they've just taken it, they've heard that someone playing Tenacious D fence. And like that should be our band
That's it.
name.
That's blown my
It's
mind.
that's
Yeah, I
where it's
didn't
come
know that
from,
either.
That has
Yeah,
blown my mind.
There you go. That's where Tenacious
Suck
D
it,
comes
Chris.
from.
Suck it harder.
My silver is, I think it's also absolutely hilarious, is Chon Wang. As the Chinese John Wayne, Chon Wang is incredible. And I didn't notice like until a certain amount through the film. But for me, as not being an avid Bad Boys fan, the Michael Lowry thing really did stick
It
with
doesn't
me
make
as well.
sense, but it goes across all films as well. It's genius.
I do agree with Chris about the Terminator being a thing. Like it's adapted into our like everything possible. But then Roger Rabbit is very much a given now. If there's ever a rabbit, immediately call him Roger as a joke sort of thing.
But the problem I have with Roger Rabbit is every time somebody said Roger Rabbit, I just think somebody fucking a rabbit.
I see.
I don't know if it's just
Roger,
me.
Rogering a rabbit.
Yeah,
okay.
Roger a rabbit. I was like, what? Every time. I always think it's
Fair
rude.
enough. Next award, best weapon. Yes, Chris, it finally made it. Your pet,
first time.
His pet prize of an award is always nominating every weapon in every single thing we ever did. So best weapon for the first time.
You started it like season 2.
It has
I just
never
kept
got a
going.
category. Never made it
I
the
think you-
pointies.
Never made it to the pointies. It's finally there. Best weapon. And I don't know why. It just kept every single film there was a weapon nominated this year. So we've narrowed it down to the Bone Tomahawk, or Bone Tomahawks in Bone Tomahawk, the chainsaw in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Gizmo's bow and arrow in Gremlins 2, horseshoe on a rope in Shanghai Noon, Jack Black's voice in Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, the machete from Friday the 13th that Jason then basically took with him for the rest, the reverse bear trap in Saw, and in the cartoon gun with cowboy bullets in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I went last, meaning that it's Andy to go first.
It's me, so right. Oh, this is hard.
That's what she said.
Right, I'm going for an honorable mention. It wasn't utilized a hell of a lot, but the sound of it was amazing, and it's the chainsaw from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So
that
it's
was
still
your
an honorable
one thing?
mention. It's the soundtrack. It is the chainsaw, but you didn't see like some slashing, so it didn't. Not a great weapon in that film. However, bronze, I am going for horseshoe on a rope because it just gives me that thing with a tomahawk on a rope from Prey vibes. So anything on a rope, just it works. It's a good weapon.
It always improves it. Always
no
improves
having to
it.
chase it. I am going for silver. It's going to be Jack Black's voice, because one destroyed the thing. He blew up that guy's head.
It
killed
blew
the
people's
demon.
minds. Yeah.
It is a good voice. However, gold is iconic. Reverse bear trap and saw. What a weapon.
Absolutely. I think it's debatable whether it's a weapon or not. You know, I don't know if we would use it as a weapon as such. So I'm not
in
sure.
that scary game that we play, you put that on, that's a weapon.
Absolutely, you're right. Am I giving that a bronze? I think I will go. I was going to maybe go honorable mention, but I think a bronze the bone tomahawk. The bone tomahawk that went up in the air and then chopped off
straight down the guy's
Matthew Fox's hand in that
his
film.
hand. I thought it was his leg.
The sheer sharpness of it means that it gets a bronze for me. But from there, I'm not really sure where I'm going, to be honest. I think Jack Black's voice comes into it, and I'll give that the silver. It was only in the dream sequence, but he was able to blow people's minds with it. And I think I put myself in a corner where I need to give Horseshoe on a Rope my gold, I think. And that's not really what I was intending doing, but that's what I've ended up, Chris.
I tell you, we could tell one thing with our weapons. We're lazy and we like things that return to us.
Don't pick it up.
I almost went all horror there, but I've changed my mind. My bronze is the chainsaw from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because again, it's iconic. That last scene of him just going really chainsaw.
He was weaponizing it. He was scaring people.
Am I right in thinking he only ever chainsawed one person with it? I think it was only Franklin that he got with it, I think.
And the guy in the wheelchair. The one that couldn't get away from him.
Yeah.
I was there.
Everybody else he just hit with the mallet thing, basically.
My silver, purely because when I think of Gremlins, I think of Gizmo and the bow and arrow. Doesn't matter which Gremlins it is. It's Gizmo's got a bow and arrow. But my gold is the reverse bear trap, because when I think of Saw, I think of the.
I think that wins it for the reverse bear trap. It does. 2 gold votes. That means it's the winner. A win for Saw for the reverse bear trap, which does it come back? Am I crazy? Or does it come back in other Saw movies?
I'm pretty sure it makes maybe 2-3 appearances.
Making it the
I
most.
think you see it once and then it's back on somebody again.
Yeah. So it's probably the most frequent trap, you want to call it.
Am I wrong? Am I right in thinking that there's a few films where it's unwinnable? And it does it just purely because
you could be right when someone else is involved. Yes,
the
twist. When it isn't John Kramer. Yeah.
Aye.
Best exit is next. We had many debates about what an exit actually constituted, but we'll see if we can nail it down in here. Best exit: boat horse leaving the boat in the ring.
As MVP of our season has to be.
It's not quite Black Horsey, but he's up there. Jigsaw, game over in the first Saw movie. The prison breakout in Shanghai Noon. Roger leaving his silhouette in the window and also the blinds when he runs away, basically, in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Sally not only jumps out of the window once, but twice in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Tenacious D power sliding the Who style out of the Rock and Roll History Museum. And the Wicked Witch leaving in a puff of red smoke and notably fire.
Burns herself.
Yeah. Me first, I believe.
Yeah.
I've got my 3. It's what order are they going in?
My brain's starting to hurt. I'm drunk now.
Right. Jigsaw game over due to its badassness and awesome way to end a film and exit a room. Gets my bronze. My silver. This might be my toughest choice.
I know which one's coming in. There's definitely one in there.
One of them's definitely, yeah, you know. Best exit. Right. Silver. I'm sorry, Margaret. I know you got burned alive being the Wicked Witch of the West, but you're only getting my silver for disappearing in a puff of red smoke and fire. But Sally, twice, she went out a windy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What a way to end a scene, basically running and jumping out of a window. But to do it twice, she gets the gold. Chris.
That should be everybody's go-to exit. I find enough admit the windy.
Father Jack style from Father Ted. He does that. He does that a lot.
Next time I'm at your house, Chris, I'm doing that.
I've had them replaced twice. Okay, she gets my silver. Sally jumping out the window.
Sally gets silver.
Sorry, my bronze. Oh, fucking.
Damn.
Hey,
I even
man.
fell for it there. I even
We're in
put
the
down
zone.
that it was the bronze. yeah.
Sorry, she's my bronze. So my silver. Jesus. I've got to say boat horse.
Ooh.
The way that thing exits the boat, it's got to. It's,
Yeah, amazing.
But Jigsaw gets my gold.
Oh, okay. Different direction for Chris from me. So Andy, what sort of direction are you going with the best exit?
Right, I'm going to put an honourable mention in because I love somebody burns for their work, and that's the Wicked Witch.
All right.
Yeah,
Honorable
so-
mention.
that- That was a good exit, and she actually burnt herself. So, honourable mention. Bronze, however, I'm going to go for bronze. I'm going for Sally jumping in the window twice. Silver, I'm going for Jigsaw's game over as a
Right.
good exit. However, it was a long exit and it was a well played out scene, but it was the prison break in Shanghai.
Really?
I would give that an honorable mention for me.
It was just
Right.
'Cause
so
it was
funny.
up there.
And then they get out, they've exited, as in the thing, and then there's another exit being made straight away. Classic.
I've also learned from that thing because if you pee in something closed, it gets really hard.
Exactly.
Chris
I
looks stupid when he looks at the camera now. It's brilliant.
Because the first beer was 7.5%, and I failed about half that in the first second of the thing. So
That's how it gets you.
Get the
Chris's
wife to bring up
gold.
some more beers.
Chris's gold vote is the winner. Jigsaw in Saw is the best exit.
It's a good exit.
It is a good exit. And
It's a cocky
well,
exit as well. I like a
I'm
cocky
sh-
exit.
I'm sure we'll come into other reasons why that scene will be nominated for things in a bit. We're almost at the intermission now, for those of you who are holding on to your bladders. We're almost there. But this is a special award. It's mainly just for Andy, but Chris, you can play along too. Best product placement. I want Andy to tell me which films these products
Fuck
were
those.
placed in, and then tell
Why
us
do
which
I get
one's the
double
best.
quizzes?
Because this is when you came up with best product placement. So between these, you can tell us. But the previous winners were Head and Shoulders. Which film was that in?
Evolution.
Evolution. And Lucky Strike.
Sure.
Do you remember what film that was the product placement in?
Beverly Hills
Lucky
Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop. So they worked.
nice.
So Andy, you've got the list there. What films were these products placed in? Acme. What film was
That's
that?
gonna be Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah, a Cutlass Supreme.
That's Tenacious D.
Tenacious D, which is a car. We
Yeah,
found out.
car.
I had no
Yeah.
idea it was a car. Etch a Sketch. What film product placement
Oh.
was that?
What's that from?
I've got Toy Story in my head, and it's not that.
It's not
No,
Toy Story.
It isn't Toy Story. No, what is it? Oh, can't remember. What was it in?
Elf was the.
Aye,
Etch a
so
Sketch.
aye, that was it. That was it.
He was making them, but also he
Aye.
did the Mona Lisa, I think, on it or
Yep.
something like that. Krispy Kreme donuts didn't really
Oh,
jump out
It's
at me.
appear more than one.
That's
No,
Oh, no.
Dunkin' Donuts was a different film, but I've forgotten which one that was.
Krispy Kreme.
Oh.
So that Terminator.
That might be Dunkin' Donuts. No, Krispy Kreme's was Saw. Apparently they were sitting front and
Aye.
centre somewhere, but I missed that
There were
one.
in 3 scenes with anytime the cops are in there.
All right, okay. Lego. What
Oh,
film was
Lego.
that?
Oh,
And I'm sure that was a product placement, that one. That was very vividly forced.
I remember
upon
seeing the
us.
sign. I can't remember the film.
It was Gremlins 2. It was in the
Aye,
lobby.
that
The
was it.
Gremlins had built a Lego Gremlin.
That was it. That was
Lego.
it.
Monopoly. That one, if you remember that one. Monopoly.
Oh, that's Wet Hot American Summer.
You're on the right lines. It was Friday the 13th. But yeah, they were playing
Ah.
Strip Monopoly in Friday the
Oh,
13th.
is it? Strip it off. I knew it was something like
Yeah.
that.
Oil was
Oil?
Yes, just oil.
Just oil.
Just oil. It was a reach. It was a stretch in this film that had no product placement.
Phone Tomahawk?
Point Break. Wizard of Oz was that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Because the Tin Man couldn't move without it.
Okay.
Sex Wax.
That was Point Break.
That's
I gave that one away by but yeah, Sex Wax is Point Break, which we found out is a product,
Aye,
apparently.
it was,
Skittles. This should be easy for Andy, this one.
Bad Boys.
Because that was his one thing, was
Yep.
Skittles. And then Smith and Wesson, it was another stretch.
That's got to be Bone Tomahawk, surely.
That was Bone Tomahawk, in fact. So what was the best product placement of the year, Andy?
Right, I'm going for, because I remember it as soon as you said it so vividly, it's a great scene, it's Skittles.
Skittles, okay. I think Cutlass Supreme hard done by, because to me that is most famous for that Tenacious D song.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
we didn't know what Cutlass Supreme. If we were American, yes. But yeah, Skittles for me, that scene,
Skittles.
just when
yeah.
he's holding the gun and just going and some Skittles and then some Bubblicious or whatever he
No
says.
Bubblicious loses out to Skittles,
Yes.
unfortunately.
But yes. Could you physically see the Skittles packet? So
Very good. That was best product placement. A couple of ones to tidy up, including a major award before the intermission here. The stats winners. Which films won all of our stats that we track every single time? Speaking of Bad Boys, it won most shits with 109 shits in Bad Boys. Most F-bombs, I forgot to check if this is the all-time record, but 285 in The Big Lebowski means that it might well be, the most F-bomb filled film we've ever done. I can't remember what the previous one, and presumably a Kevin Smith film might run it close. But Big Lebowski was 285, which we worked out was basically one every, I don't know, 90, one every like 40 seconds or something like that, I think it was. Explosions, Inception to 97, which was the most. Deaths. Now, Godzilla, we counted 184, which was the highest. But also at one point it said that Godzilla had caused thousands of deaths on Manhattan. So it's actually probably thousands more than that. Most cows was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There were hundreds at the beginning of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Most goats, Wet Hot American Summer. There were 2 at the summer camp, which meant it won most goats. Dead animals. Gremlins 2 had 440 dead gremlins in it, and we counted them as animals earlier on, so that wins that. Most paedophiles. Our summation was that there were 2 in Saw, so Saw had the most paedophiles of the year, meaning that all of these awards, I feel every year, if we ever get a 0 across the board, they're out. And every season, we still manage to get cows, goats, paedophiles in there. So they all survive for another season. The Tom Cruise trifecta, it evolved this year, because at first a nihilist managed to achieve the trifecta, but Sarah Connor took a victory for feminism, and she also completed the trifecta, inventing the Sarah Connor trifecta as well as the Tom Cruise trifecta.
And Tackleberry trifecta.
And Tackleberry, I need to mention Tackleberry.
Tackleberry one, he was already married, so Sarah Connor is the new Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Basically,
she actually did everything in the film.
Everything within the film, like what Tom Cruise does. So yeah, Tackleberry, yeah, okay, you can maybe take a step to the side now. And he's got his own one now, which we know Johnny Utah did in Point Break. So, which is jumping out of planes without a parachute. Which film said the thing the most?
Oh.
This is very tightly run. I've also got a shortened version of a film title that I don't know what it means. So I'm going to have to really think hard. It's Elf was second.
Oh, was it? I was going to say it was either The Terminator or The Big Lebowski.
Elf was second, with 21. The winner had 22 saying other things, and it was Bad Boys, because they sing the song Bad Boys in it. Terminator was surprisingly low. I believe the Terminator films between them had single-figure number of Terminators, because they don't say... It's too obvious to go, oh, the Terminator this, the Terminator that. Oh, look, it's a Terminator coming to get me. So it doesn't actually get said that much.
See, when they say, I'm a Terminator, do you include that, or does it have to be the Terminator?
I think I always did. I think I did both. I think I did Terminators, I think, if I remember. But it was never as high as you think. Well-written films don't hit that nail too often. They don't say it over and over and over and over again. And then most nut shots, I think, came in a film where Chris didn't count the nut shots. It was a Shanghai Noon, where Andy and I both counted between us that there was 2 nut shots and Chris hadn't actually counted it. So that was the most nut shots. So they all survive for another year for those stats. Worst film of the year time right now. Previous worst films. Doom.
Chris.
A Scanner Darkly. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Chris.
Howard the Duck.
Chris.
And that was the first 4 seasons. That was all Chris. Mighty Morphin.
Scanner Darkly and Imaginarium in the same season for some reason.
Right, no, they weren't. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was next.
That, but that was slagged off by... It was harsh. It
was harshly done by. Beautiful Creatures, that was none of us. They were forced that one. And then so was Space Oddity. And yes, you're welcome. None of them were my selections.
So, he deserves one. Surely it's coming.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
It's been close, isn't he?
I am involved in the bottom 4 this season. I'll tell you that much. The 4th worst. This is all such tight margins here, but they are separate scoring wise. 4th worst. A 4 out of 10 from us. Andy gave it a 3. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the 4th worst of the season. 3rd bottom of the table, also a 4, a film that both Andy and Chris gave a 3 to, Friday the 13th.
Bad
Classic
films,
horror.
aren't they? No,
Classic
classic
horror
horror
didn't
doesn't
do
work
well.
for us.
Wasn't
It
horror
didn't-
at
did-
all.
Didn't
Exactly.
do well. Second bottom, also with a 4, also selected by me, as Friday the 13th was my selection. Andy gave it a 2. Wet Hot American Summer. It was my first pick of the year. It was the second
Interesting.
worst film. But the bottom film, the worst film of the season, that got a 3, the only film to get a 3, which in some ways, this is actually a reasonably okay scoring season. As in, if you combine what we gave films together, nothing got single figures. There was no 9s, no 7s, no 3s that we've had in the past. A 10 combined, averaging out to a 3. 13 Ghosts, selected by Andy, was the worst film. The only film to get a 1 that was from me this year. This
You're
film
a
was
monster.
awful, and Chris gave it a 3, Andy gave it a 6. But I think very much by my weight of my 1, that brings it down to be the
A
worst.
lot of his voting is just like, I remember this thing. 6.
It's a banger.
Alright. One person noisy. 2.
Right,
It's a banger. Can't believe fucking Bruce needs to have a bad season.
I know.
I think-
That's if
I
you
think-
could pick the best film in the world now, Bruce, is getting a 1.
I think Bruce overall has picked the shittest films on this podcast, but somehow scrapes through by some Academy Award bullshit scoring between you and fucking Chris.
I always pick the middle. I'm nearly always in the middle of the table because I pick things I like and you guys don't. I can average out to the middle all the time.
2 seasons I've picked films I've never seen. The first one was the bad one. That was a
13
second
Ghosts.
season,
After
I
that
think.
was Matthew Lillard's redemption story, and Bruce still fucking shat on it.
It
I preferred
was.
him in Scream.
Well, I didn't, but it was a better film, comfortably. That brings us to the end of the first half of the Pointies with the news that 13 Ghosts is one of the worst films. I'm not sure I didn't actually do the worst films of all time. I should think about that for the next Pointies. I think we all know.
That's going to be the rumor, the Parnassus thing.
The Room got a 2 out of 10 for me,
Parnassus,
so it's
right.
not The Room. It's Parnassus is the worst film we've ever done. But yes, 13 Ghosts, worst film of the season. That's the end of the first half of the Pointy Awards, and we'll be back at the start of the second half.
I'll see you in an hour.
And we're back with part 2
Magic.
of our season 8 10 Point Podcast Awards. But before we get back into the awards, in some ways, the most important award of the evening needs to be given out right now. And that is who is the season 8 quiz champion. That's the most
The
important.
Shenaniganizer Award.
Oh,
Yes.
for fuck's sake. That was a
So-
better quiz this season.
What I can tell you is,
I did most of it for you.
I can tell you there was one draw, one tie this year. So therefore there has to be a winner, basically, because you're splitting the others as an odd number. How do you feel like it went, Chris?
I feel like you won it.
Right.
There's a wee phase that I won like maybe 3 or 4 in a row, but then there's a lot where you just blitzed me.
And I've specifically looked at that this season as well.
Yeah.
I'll go with that first, okay? I did a points difference, like how they do goal difference in football. Chris was minus 12 points difference, and I was plus 12 points difference, obviously, because we were against each other. But mainly because this season, Andy gave it a lot of bonus points. I don't mean like, here, have a bonus point, but it's a case of you'd get asked a question. You get asked a question, and it'd be 1 point for this and 1 point for that, and there's a lot more points being flung around. So I thought, let's keep an eye on the points difference.
No, it's the right. Chris is 12-0 up, but Bruce, if you get this one right, you win.
I don't think
I'm
that
coming on
happened
to
this
that.
season.
I'm coming on to that. So plus 12 was my points difference, minus 12 was Chris's. So the 20 quizzes, one was a draw. Chris, you won 9 quizzes.
Oh.
I won 10 quizzes, therefore giving me the win. However, during the quiz, The Ring, I don't know what Andy's hilarious name for it was, but The Ring quiz, Chris was winning
That's my ring.
3-1. Chris is winning 3-1, and I was asked, what's the score? And I said, Chris is winning 3-1. Andy says, Bruce, for 3 points, here's your question. And I answered correctly, and I won that quiz by a point by getting 3 points from the final one. So, technically, I won 10 quizzes, Chris won 9, and I am still quiz champion. But I guess on reflection, maybe that one was a bit tainted. So it might actually have been a draw this season. Because I got that one.
Do you know what annoys me is listening back in podcasts, we say things at the exact same time.
We do.
But in my head, I'm like a second ahead of you. Like I say, I don't know, like Terminator, and you're like Terminator.
Terminator, yeah.
But on the podcast, it is the exact same time.
You're right.
And
I,
in
I
my
do
head-
check for that as well. I do check for that as well, and that is how the scores have reflected that. So yeah, very contentious because I won, was awarded the wins, but you could take away my final win there and it calls a draw. But technically, Chris would have won that
Happy
quiz
with a
and given
draw.
him. He would have won that quiz
Mhm.
with the points score being done fairly. So technically, I think we call the quiz a dead heat this year. And I don't
Oh.
want to accept. I don't want to accept my win that way. I'm sorry,
Oh.
Andy. But
Right,
yeah,
well, next season I'm going to play it right down the middle.
good.
I'm going like judge, jury, executioner. We'll always
Okay.
have a winner. It will be fair.
It'll be fairly done. And we've learned our lesson, the season 8 quiz. But yeah,
I've
I
heard
couldn't
that
believe that
before.
it came right down to, I think I won the second last quiz to give me 10. Excuse me, and then you won the last one to make it 10-9 with a draw. So yeah, the closest we've ever been.
I absolutely dominate, and I love them ones because, excuse me, they are difficult quizzes, and then but for some reason my brain it just clicks. And then there's ones where Bruce, Chris, spell there. Wrong. Bruce, spell there. And then he nails it. I'm like, fucking hell, what's wrong with my brain today?
Andy, and I think also by conduit, Chantel nailed down the problem that Chris has, which is if he gets thrown off quickly, it's bad, and I win by 8, 9, 10 points, and that's the.
So the next season. So is it season 9 we're on?
Season 9 is this one, yeah, or the upcoming one.
It's going to be bigger and better, and badder than
Good.
ever.
Look forward to it, and see if Andy can read out the questions, which he had trouble with a lot.
I can't.
Worst
It's
is
impossible.
the one with Dinklage, is he didn't do Dinky of the Dinklage 2.
I
That
couldn't
threw me
believe it.
off.
I could not believe it. Yeah,
I was prepared for it.
I think you won that quiz anyway. I think in the end.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
I'll
wrong.
take it.
Anyway, on to the more awards and more
Anyone that can
voting.
get-
Best acting. Previous winners: Jim Carrey, Mila Jovovich, Bill Goldberg, Rosamund Pike, Christoph Waltz, Raul Julia, Michael Douglas, Zoe Saldana, and Jason Momoa won Best Acting last year.
Amazing.
You can tell by the list of previous winners the seasons where you have teamed up against me and decided that someone is good.
These are all deserving
I didn't
people.
nominate him at all. So you could not team up against me just because he was a fucking WCW guy.
Right. Okay.
Chris
Fair
went
enough.
really quiet again.
He went very quiet there, but he was complaining, so
He was.
I could pick out what he was saying.
Yeah.
You're better now.
Kick it off.
Nominees: Arnold Schwarzenegger for Terminator, as in the Terminator. He wasn't nominated for Terminator 2. We'll come on to that in a second. Bob Hoskins for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Jeff Bridges for The Big Lebowski. Martin Lawrence for Bad Boys. Owen Wilson in Shanghai Noon. Patrick Swayze in Point Break. Robert Patrick was nominated for Terminator 2. And Will Ferrell in Elf. Shall we just start back at Andy again? It might actually be impossible, yeah. Andy, we'll start with you again since we've reset at the intermission.
Oh, this is impossible. Right.
I think I know my 3, but I don't know what order. I have no idea what order to put them in.
Right. I'm going to do an honourable mention on this one. And I'm going to go for Will Ferrell in Elf. It's one of his best roles, but ultimately he is playing Will Ferrell as an elf. So
as he does in every film.
Yeah, but it's his pinnacle. What he does is amazing, so he's got an honourable mention. Right, here we go. This is hard. Right. I am going to go for... I'm going for bronze Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. Now, that man stole a role from, what you call him, because he was a better Terminator. Lance
Michael
Henriksen.
Biehn?
He was meant to be the Terminator.
Lance Henriksen.
He was meant to be the Terminator.
I don't think it would have worked for him.
Well, that's exactly why they were filming it, and Arnold was like, "No, we do this." So I'll give him props. That's a good actor. He's went in. I can do this better. So he's getting bronze. Now, silver. I'm going Bob Hoskins because he acted against nothing pretty much half the time, or some guy holding a puppet. I would be killing myself laughing. Some guy just holding a fucking puppet up. What he does in that film is next level acting. That's acting. However, there is only one great actor in this thing, and I have narrowed it down. It's Robert Patrick as the T-1000 and T2.
My God.
He absolutely nails that role. He is sinister, no matter what that cunt's in anymore. And I use the word C-bomb lightly. He's amazing. I'm terrified of him. he's a great actor overall, but just in that film, he does everything.
Right.
Just amazing. Gold.
Okay. I had your gold go to someone else who you've not mentioned, so
I know.
I'll leave
Couldn't
that
do it.
hanging.
Couldn't do it.
For the reasons mentioned by Andy, I'm giving Bob Hoskins an honourable mention. He's the one that just misses out for me. But yeah, him acting against nobody for the entirety of the film is pretty damn good, so he gets honourable mention. My bronze, basically again for the reasons Andy listed out, but Will Ferrell in Elf gets my bronze because he carries the film. The film's him. Everything he does and says is about what he does, and the film is so good because of him. So he gets my bronze. My silver is going to be... Tell a lie. My silver's going to be Will Ferrell. He's getting my silver. My bronze, I'm going to give Jeff Bridges my bronze because I think he is sensational as the dude and plays everything note perfect, but he is a lot more carried by those around about him. It's not all about the dude in that film. But he is, I can't fault him. But for me, because I think he was unfairly snubbed for Terminator 2, I think he was far better in that, but he's very good in the first one at being what he does. Arnold Schwarzenegger gets my gold. I'm using the Linda Hamilton rule from earlier and doubling up and giving him best actor for both, basically. Chris.
See, Schwarzenegger gets my bronze because I feel he's better in the first one than he is the second one.
Really? I think he's way better in the
I
second
feel
one.
he's all over. Well,
Yeah.
he's all over the place in the second one, like accent wise. It annoyed me.
Yeah, that's right.
My silver, purely because when I think of this guy, I think of this film, Will Ferrell and Elf. But my gold is Robert Patrick. He fucking nailed that film.
Yeah,
He,
God.
like Andrew says, he could be the best guy in a film, but you will still think he's bad because of the way he was in Terminator.
This is the T1000.
He just
He's
looks
not
like a
even
bad guy.
He's not even that bad in Terminator. He's a cop, but he's a terrifying cop. That takes some acting.
He
to do
even
that.
smiles. No Terminator smiles.
I can't believe neither of you mentioned Martin Lawrence in that entire thing.
Oh,
Martin
he
Lawrence
was
is good, but
He's better in the second one, I think.
I like him better in the second one. You
Fair
might get
enough.
another nomination in the future.
Fair enough. Robert Patrick, best acting. Well earned. I know I did mention him, but fair enough. I can't argue. One of the 10-point
Lineup, that
podcast.
is.
I know,
Is it
again,
acting
it's...
where you're just playing yourself?
yeah. One of the all-time 10-point podcast's favourite awards is next. The Danny John-Jules Award for most unexpected appearance in a film. Previous winners. Danny John-Jules. Danny John-Jules. Christina Pickles, when she showed up in He-Man. Amanda Byram. I'm not going any more into that.
Amazing.
Sam Rockwell was in Demolition Man? He was
I
something in the
so.
background somewhere.
No, he
And
was
then
in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
yeah, was
Turtles,
I?
Sam Rockwell. And then Terry Funk was in bloody, what do you call it, The Ringer, out of nowhere. So nominees for Danny John-Jules, most unexpected. Amy Adams in Tenacious D. Brian Cox, showing up as he always does in The Ring. David Arquette in Bone Tomahawk. Flea was in The Big Lebowski. Kevin Bacon was in Friday the 13th, which is news to all of us. And then Tom Sizemore out of nowhere in Point Break. I believe it's me to start.
Right. I'm on cloud
Has
nine,
Brian
by the way.
Cox been in every season?
No, but Hanky has been in
He's
a
been
minimum
a
of
lot.
3 seasons. Yeah, minimum. He twice unexpectedly showed up last year, I think, in the last
Right.
season. And he has once again showed up here. And for that reason, this is basically, it's low-key the Brian Cox Award as well. I'm giving him bronze for showing up in The Ring, because I genuinely didn't know he was in that. Like, there's some films where he pops up, but I did not know he was in that film. To split the top 2, because Amy Adams isn't really in Tenacious D that much, I'm going to give her a silver, but I did not realise ever that was her that was in that scene. But for me, I had no idea Kevin Bacon was in Friday the 13th, and him showing up as, I guess camp counselor number 4 or whatever he was, and having a sizable role, me never knowing. Kevin Bacon, that's my gold. Chris.
So Amy Adams gets my bronze for Tenacious D. I was more of an advocate for I can't remember his call. Anthony Diaz from
Anthony
Point Break.
Kiedis.
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 So But Flea from Lebowski gets my silver.
At a certain
But
time, that would be big for me, but now I very much associate him with that film.
he's still that's the only film I've ever seen him in, I think. Kevin Bacon. Very thin because of gold.
Good, good. Andy.
Right, I'm going for Kevin Bacon bronze
Mm-hmm.
because I knew he was in it, but it's still funny every time he pops up. So it's Kevin Bacon.
Good be.
I'm going for Amy Adams in Tenacious D. But for me, the utter shocker was David Arquette in Bone Tomahawk.
Really?
I
Okay.
never knew this film existed. And then when I even Googled it, I was like, oh, that's that one with that guy from Lost in it. And I put it on, and I was like, what the fuck is David Arquette doing in this?
He's the first person, isn't it? The first person
Yeah,
you
that's
see is
just
David
like,
Arquette.
blew my mind. So yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't stop Kevin Bacon being the winner. Kevin Bacon, which is he is in a million things, Kevin Bacon, but
7
I did
Degrees of
not
Bacon.
know. Did not know he was in Friday the 13th. Kevin Bacon, well done for popping up. Danny John-Jules Award for season 8.
Oh, I wonder how many
Right.
steps it is from Danny John-Jules to Kevin Bacon. Hold on.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I'll talk about myself saying, Chris, I think it was you. No, was it Andy came up with the Unsung Hero Award? It was Andy.
I think it was Andy.
Andy came up. So the Unsung Hero, I don't know if it's the first new award, but absolutely brand new for this season. Some have never made it this far before, but it's first season in, I thought it's a winning formula. And I do wonder if there's maybe a potential front runner here for this one. So Unsung Hero of season 8. I don't know how you put it, Andy. Basically, the character in a film, or whatever you want to call it, that does the most but gets the least recognition. Yeah. Would that be what it
It's
was?
a guy that I never thought of until you mentioned it, but now I can't unsee it as being the unsung
winner.
Hero.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, stop you there. I've just done the 7 degrees of bacon for the last thing. So Danny John-Jules to Kevin Bacon, right?
Yeah.
It is technically 2 steps.
Really? Okay.
Danny John-Jules was in A Little Shop of Horrors.
He was.
A Little Shop of Horrors was with Christopher Guest. Christopher Guest was in A Few Good Men, which was Kevin Bacon. So
which Kevin Bacon's in. There you go. Easy.
2 steps from the Danny John-Jules Award.
Easy. Very good. All right, nominees for your Unsung Hero Award, Andy. Eames, that's Tom Hardy in Inception, coming up with the plan, executing the plan,
he nailed it.
Killing everybody,
Yep.
being funny, playing the role of somebody, doing everything, and not getting none of the credit from Dom Cobb. Character name, Indian wife from Shanghai Noon. That's how she's called in the credits. Basically, Hong Kong fooing her way through the thing, doing everything for our 2 main heroes in the background so that they can keep going. John Connor's ginger friend in Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I like not for him. Ginger. It's not just John Connor's friend.
It has to be the ginger. Because you just say John Connor's friend, you're like, oh yeah, but then when you think ginger, oh yeah, I remember the ginger. Yeah, ginger friend. For basically saving humankind by giving John the heads up and giving the T-1000 the runaround. Murray Futterman in Gremlins 2, The New Batch. She had no need to go and help. He'd already had his life ruined by the Gremlins, and he went in and he plowed through a couple and killed a few off and helped save the day. And then the New York construction team from Godzilla, which is what Andy set off this chain of events with. The repairs these poor people have to do following the events of Godzilla. I think it's Chris to go first for this one. This is the proper award. No one's personalised award. So Chris, who are your? I think it's you to go. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So my bronze, I'm going to give it to. I'm going to give it to Eames from Inception. He did a lot of the heavy lifting in that film. It all rested on his shoulders, like the whole being Browning.
He was at the 4th or 5th pick as well for the team as well, wasn't he?
I know, yeah.
I was still first dibs.
Well, we made a point of Dom Cobb is the worst person to do what he's doing because he has this like spectre of his ex-wife hanging around. And then Arthur, we think, is just claiming a paycheck from somewhere. Like, we're not actually sure what he did. So it's all Eames, really. Like, the rest of them are just hangers on.
Which I always thought was a bad guy in that film.
You always expect somebody to be the flip-flopper.
That's a twist.
Yeah.
Twist. Just because she appeared at the right time every time as the Indian wife from Shanghai. But I never thought of it at the time, but John Connor's ginger friend is the unsung hero.
Unsung hero of the Terminator franchise. Yeah, Andy, what are your awards?
Right. almost the same, but I'm going to go for honorable mention as Eames. He's close, but he's not close enough to get bronze.
Okay.
Bronze is the Indian wife in Shanghai.
Okay.
She pretty much saves them all the time.
Yeah.
Silver is the New York construction team. Like Godzilla decimates it. Yeah, okay, they kill Godzilla. Someone's got to do all the repair, all them homes, and the construction team seem to just get that back up. Not as quick as a film that'll come up in the podcast at some stage.
Right. Okay.
However, they're rapid. I'll give them that. However, John Connor's ginger friend, he literally saves mankind, and he doesn't even know he does it.
He doesn't know it. He does
That's
not know it.
That's the best type of unsung hero. Somebody doesn't even know what they've done.
He doesn't even
Just-
look for acclaim because he doesn't know he needs
He
it.
doesn't care. Doesn't rub it. They're like, I'm sure the construction team. They're going, look at us. We've just built this. John Connor's friend. He's just done a kind thing, and he doesn't even know he saved humankind.
He's
You
been
think he ever sees John Connor again? I feel like John Connor goes off in a different direction with his life.
That's what I would like to see is him come back and say, I just want to thank you, by the way. You saved me from that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never turns up again in the film or nothing, does he? He doesn't go,
In Salvation, this is my best mate. You saved my life.
Yeah.
no,
Here's
he doesn't
Ginge.
even-
Yeah.
Maybe he's a flare. A flare. It's terrifying.
I'm not giving my votes yet. So I'm going to go down the route of I think Murray Futterman deserves a bronze. Didn't need to get involved. Eames, I was very in favour of. He gets my silver. But yeah, John Connor's ginger mate is definitely the winner. And shall I propose that this becomes John Connor's Ginger Pal Award?
The Ginger Pal Awards.
The Ginger Friend Award for most unsung.
It is like that. It's like it is the pinnacle. I think we've started off strong because he just did it. He's literally changed the course of humanity.
Yeah. I think it should be John Connor's Ginger Friend.
What's he called?
Nobody knows.
Exactly.
He's
the unknown friend.
That's the
hero
best
award.
thing. That's
perfect.
what makes it. He's so unsung. We don't know his name.
Yes, there we go. So the unsung hero, the John Connor's Ginger Friend Award for best unsung hero. The winner, John Connor's Ginger Friend.
I just
Very
realized
much.
there's the Indian's wife as well. It's like there's two people in there. They're properly, like, actually genuinely unsung.
Yeah, and she doesn't have a full name either. Yeah,
They don't have a full name in the credits. That's a.
But then
proper
she is-
unsung hero.
she's portrayed as a hero throughout. Like we can see through in the film
Yeah.
that she is. Look who's actually doing it. Whereas he, nah, no credit. Right, best twist. Talking of twisty twists. Chris loves a twist. Previous winners of best twist came from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, The Witch,
It's not-
Alien, Ready or Not, Seven, The Shining, and Den of Thieves are the previous best twists. No spoilers for any of those. But this season, spoilers for all movies we did this year. Best twist could come from Inception, where we learned that Cobb incepted the idea that ended up killing his wife. Cyrus is still alive in 13 Ghosts. Jason Voorhees is still alive and is in the lake in Friday the 13th. Jigsaw, John Kramer has been in the room the entire time in Saw. Kyle Reese is John Connor's father in The Terminator. Samara from The Ring, she wanted rescued from the well so that she could do evil unto the world. The Terminator, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, is actually the good guy in Terminator 2. And in Godzilla, there is still one egg remaining at the end. Andy.
This is a hard one. There's some good twists in here. Oh, where to start? Right, I'm going to go for another honorable mention. I'm going to go for Cobb's Inception because that film could be interpreted every which way. But I do like the idea that, like, he killed his wife, blah, blah, blah. So, honorable mention. Bronze. Now, it would have blown my mind if I didn't know, so I'm going to give it bronze, which is the Terminator's a good guy. The lead up to that is absolutely, you take it, like, you try and forget about it, it is amazing.
Yeah, if you don't think
Cobb's a
about
good
it.
guy, it's a bronze
Yeah.
purely because it probably got ruined for me as a kid and I just knew Arnie's a good guy.
Yep.
Right. Yes, this
Literally for all those reasons, that's my bronze too. Everything you said that's my bronze as well.
Right. This is hard. I'm gonna go for Samara is silver because
Right.
that is a good twist because you think, oh, right, the classic horror thing. Oh,
She
you do a
was free.
redemption, you get her out, you rest her soul. No, she just wants to be a bell end.
Yeah.
Like, what a twist. She is just evil, right? So she's getting that. However, speaking of pure evil, and it is the ultimate defining twist, Jigsaw been in the room the whole time. John Kramer lying there, the ultimate. Like that is this award should be the John Kramer Award, and I challenge me if you want, but that is gold.
I think maybe when we get through the Saw movies, like we might eventually, we might make it the.
We're gonna
John
have a name
Kramer.
for every award eventually.
I mean,
John
it's
Kramer.
not a bad way to end up. Not a bad way. Yeah, my bronze is Terminator for literally everything Andy said. My silver, though, is Jason Voorhees still being alive and in the lake. A belter of a jump scare at the end of that film. And I'm still not 100% sure it makes sense, but it is a really good twist at the end. It's also the double twist of it's not Jason that's doing the killing, it's an old lady, and then he still actually is there. But yeah, I think never to be topped as a twist ending is the ending of the first Saw movie. I think it is.
That blew my mind. That's
think,
what I
yeah.
wanted the Terminator 2 to be. Like I went into that film just going, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like, and like I said, they almost topped it with Saw 2. Like it was up there. Like that twist.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think I'd give Samara an honorable mention because I don't know The Ring at all. So this is really my first ever viewing of it. And like Andy says, yeah, you think the culmination of a story in this sort of films usually, you lay the haunted soul to rest and everything's good, but that's not where it goes. Chris.
Okay, so I'm not mention for the Terminator because I watched Terminator 2 first, and I've always known the Terminator to be a good guy.
Yeah.
So my bronze is Samara, just being a bell end. I'm about to kill everybody. My silver is there's still one egg in Godzilla because I was desperate for a sequel, and I thought they were going to get one because of that.
Yep.
And it infuriates me that we still haven't got one for that.
It's just this like I don't know, this cliffhanger that's still hanging. Is that there was still an egg left? Yeah.
But I have to agree with you guys. That's the ending of Saw is probably the ultimate twist. The first time you see that, I want to go back and watch it for the first time again because that blew my mind.
It's a slow movie.
For about 3 years, I loved showing people Saw so that I could watch the ending and be like, oh.
It's not the greatest movie ever. It's slow, but it's well done. The acting's terrible, but that ending, it's the apex of endings.
It's what makes a really good independent movie is, okay, you can't afford this, you can't afford that.
It coming either.
Exactly, but you've found an absolutely perfect story script idea, and it's
that's
like
the type of film that I think I would produce. It would be utterly dog shit, but there would be a twist in it. It'd be like, fuck, I've blown minds here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're looking for that reaction. Yeah. So yeah, the winner, Jigsaw, John Kramer, best twist. I think we all saw that coming. No, kind of pun intended.
Hey.
Yeah.
A much debated award coming up next. Most underused in a movie of season 8 of a podcast. Previous winners, Bill Paxton, I'm not sure what movie he was underused in. Jack Black, one of the previous films was done of him, he was underused in. Steve Guttenberg, probably Cocoon, he was underused in. I don't think it was Police Academy. And then Brian Cox last year was most underused in one of the films he was in. He's in
Maybe The Ringer. He won it last year.
Yeah, I think it might have been The Ringer. If not, it might have been Shot of Glory potentially. Either way, he's often underused. Brian Cox. Nominees this year: Dina Mayer from Saw, Faison Love in Elf. That was the guy who ran Gimbli's or Gimbal, sort of what it's called. Right. Okay. The famous Disney and Warner Brothers animated characters that appeared in Roger Rabbit. Gizmo in Gremlins 2, John C. McGinley in Point Break, Paul Winfield and Lance Henriksen, the two cops in Terminator, the original, Shannon Elizabeth in 13 Ghosts, and Walton Goggins in Shanghai Noon. It's me to go first. I actually don't have a clue.
That's a tough one as well.
Yeah.
A lot of underused people.
I've got one honorable mention coming up.
Right, okay. Right, my bronze... I'm going to go honorable mention Shannon Elizabeth. I feel sorry for her because she was just used to sell that film and then wasn't in it, basically.
I have an image of her from American Pie, sorry. And I thought that's where we were going with this film, but we didn't.
Right, okay.
Let's go any
deeper into Chris's psyche there.
Titties.
So she's my honorable mention is because, she's barely in the film. Walton Goggins is my bronze because I think that film needed more of him and less of the other villains who were in it. And I love Walton Goggins. He's very good at everything. My silver, I think they should have done more with the famous animated characters that they were able to get for Roger Rabbit. Roger was a pain in the arse. They didn't do enough with universes kind of colliding that they could have done. So that's my silver. And my gold, I'm going to go with Paul Winfield and Lance Henriksen. Not so much that they were underused per se, but they were just done with and yeah, tossed aside. Like they were underutilized, maybe than underused, I think. But I really enjoyed every scene they had. I wanted more of it. I wanted more of the cops chasing after everybody. So that's my gold, Chris.
Okay, so my bronze is Faison Love from Elf, because the few scenes that he was in, he was hilarious, and I wanted him to be in more.
No, he wasn't. Yes, he was. No, he wasn't. Yes, he was.
My silver is Gizmo from Gremlins 2, because when you think of Gremlins, you think of Gizmo, and he was literally in it for like 5 minutes. It was all about the other ones.
I can't change anything about Gremlins 2. I love it too much. It's one of my favorites.
But I was going to put the other ones, but I'll go with what Bruce said about Paul Winfield and Lance Henriksen. Like they had like a bit of a comedy dual act going, and that was great. And then out of nowhere, boom, they're gone.
Not even a farewell or a thank you or a like. Paul Winfield kind of half saves Sarah kinda in one scene, but yeah, very understated. Andy,
Right. I've been thinking on this. I'm pretty hammered now, so I might say some shit. I'm going for broad. I'm going for honorable mention first. I'm going to just say Paul Winfield and Lance Henriksen.
right? Okay.
I enjoyed them, not enough to get into the top categories. Bronze, Shannon Elizabeth, 13 Ghosts. Same reason.
For her.
At the time, she was American Pie. She's been in other things. Amazing, but completely underused. When do I do it? I'm going for bronze. Not bronze, silver. Gizmo. Gizmo gets it because, yeah, he needs to be in a more.
Dog barking.
That's me.
It was so. However, now there's a reason behind it. It's not just for that they were underused. It's also because she kissed me in the cheek, so it's a winner. Dina Mayer and Saw. Because when I seen her, I was like, oh my god, it's Dina Mayer. Massive Starship Troopers fan. She's going to be in this film a lot. She's not. She's in like a scene or maybe two. And
I think so.
It's just, yeah. And all this budget, she seems like the most high profile actress at the time.
Yeah.
Because she'd just come off the back of a few other films. And she's not used in that film at all. And ultimately, the FBI in that film are shit. So
yeah, pretty bad. Yeah, I'm really dying here. I'm choking to death. The winners, Paul Winfield and Lance Henriksen. I think they are the first duo to win most underused. My voice is going.
He's
talking too
much.
Talking way too much on the podcast here, as normal. Moving on quickly before I completely lose it to best badass. Unbelievably hotly contested award this season. I did not realize that we had this many badasses on the podcast. So, previous winners, Warwick from Avatar and Casey Ryback from Under Siege, our previous biggest badasses. Nominees this season. Eames, as mentioned earlier, why he was the badass in Inception. Gizmo, because he basically turns into Rambo in Gremlins 2. Mike Lowry from Bad Boys, because he's a badass. Sally, if I need to remind you, I've got Friday the 13th next to her. It's actually meant to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre she was in. Jumps out of not one, but two windows, like badasses do. Samara in The Ring, just generally because of how much of a badass she was. The Terminator from Terminator 2, I think that was the more badass performance, given the choice. Walter Sobchak in The Big Lebowski, and his general attitude and the fact that he was taking on all those nihilists on his own, basically, who showed no fear. And then The Wicked Witch of the West. She was a badass dominating the realm of Oz at the time. Presumably, it is Chris to go first.
It is. Okay, so my bronze, Gizmo from Gremlins. He's not in that film enough, but and then out of nowhere, he comes in with his little bow and arrow and blows up the spider one. Rambo.
That's right.
So he gets my bronze. Silver. Eames from Inception, for what we previously said, he carries that entire mission.
He does, yeah. It's a lot of it on his back.
I wanted to say Sally for jumping out 2 windows, but I want I've got a soft spot for the Terminator. He's a
Terminator.
badass.
Fair.
He gets my gold.
Andy, what are your votes?
Right. I am going for no honorable mentions this time, but I'm going for bronze. Mike Lowry in Bad Boys.
Mike
Mhm.
Lowry.
Not
Mike
just for
Lowry.
thing, but yeah, he's a pretty badass as a LAPD cop. He's pretty doesn't give a shit.
Well, I guess it's Miami PD, is it not?
Well, whatever, Miami PD,
I guess
but
Miami PD.
whoever they are. Right. The next 2 involve high explosives. So I'm going for Silver Eames in Inception.
Right.
Gold is the Terminator.
Yeah.
He's ultimately a badass when he's in that bar and he gets his thing. But then, for me, the scene that gets it, it's just him walking around with that his grenade launcher at the top. But then it's his gas canister just pumping people in the back with a thing. It's like a gas canister, but he's hitting them with the fucking shells instead.
Because they can't kill anyone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good.
amazing. So yeah,
That scene with the minigun is bonerific.
so yeah, he is a badass. The Terminator, leather, glasses. That's the definition of a badass, surely.
Yeah, that's what I think of badass when I think of
Exactly.
Like the
That's what it is.
Terminator.
leather
Yeah.
jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, I'm gold for him as well. Definitely Terminator with my gold, so he wins hands down. But I'm giving Sally my silver for jumping. Like that's badass behavior. She didn't know she was being a badass, and that's ultimate badass behavior. And the Wicked Witch of the West gets a bronze from me. I think she's overlooked before they invented badasses. She was a badass. Honorable
There's
mention
a lot of petty
basically,
votes this tonight.
from the Wicked Witch of the West. I mean, she deserves them. I think she
Yes.
was the best thing in that film, and she's never going to
Yeah.
win anything in
I'll
this
tell you
sort
what,
of.
I'm going to add an honorable mention for Gizmo because he was pretty
Gizmo.
badass.
Yeah, fair point. Honorable mention for everybody. I'm not sure I agree with Samara necessarily, but more kind of evil than anything like that.
She was evil.
On to the next one. Most annoying kid.
This is yours
Very
all over.
hotly contested. Previous winners: Denny from The Room, Melvin from Tremors, that kid at the dig site at the beginning of Jurassic Park, Bruce Wayne in The Batman Begins, and then the daughters of Idris Elba out in the middle of nowhere in Beast.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Nominees. Not strictly a kid, but Ariadne asked 88 questions throughout the runtime of Inception. Puts annoying kid behavior, if not actually
Yes.
a kid.
Yes. That's like why?
Bobby.
Why? Why'd
you do this? What's that for? How do I do this? How do we get out again? Stop asking questions. Bobby in 13 Ghosts, that was the younger child of Tony Shalhoub, kept just running off. We're in this haunted house and he just keeps running off places all the time. John Connor, Edward Furlong in Terminator 2. A pet peeve of Andy there.
That was winning for me.
The kid with glasses in Wet Hot American Summer, I think he's the one that ends up with the teacher, or whatever you want to call her at the end, is him. Do you see what happens, Larry? Larry, do you see what happens, Larry? Larry, do you see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps? Larry from The Big Lebowski, who did or didn't steal the car and all that sort of stuff. He's
okay, got you now.
That little kid who put ice cream in Sarah Connor's apron in The Terminator, he's nominated. And then Ned, the most annoying man in the world in Friday the 13th, he's nominated for that too. Who starts? I can't remember.
Did I go first last time?
Aye.
I mean, Zandy go first then.
That's you.
Ah, shit, son. Right. I'm going for bronze Ariadne from Inception because, yeah, the questions were too many.
Ariadne, question.
Yeah, questions, too many questions. Silver is Bobby from 13 Ghosts because what a bell end. Like, he's on a scooter, he's cruising in a glass house, somehow he gets lost in a glass house. That's impressive shit.
Yeah, that is impressive, you're right.
So it's this little dick. And then, yeah, it's so fucking annoying. It's John Connor. Gold.
Hey, gold.
That voice, it's like, I know he's
his balls are dropping.
Well, right, okay, you're right, his balls are dropping, but I'm meant to believe that he's like 12 or 13 or whatever. The guy's riding a fucking or scooter or whatever, dirt bike. He's pretty badass at times, but then he's just such a bellend. It's like he's got this fucking killing machine. He's telling me to put one leg up and no, just no.
Just no.
Just annoyed me all the way
I'll
through the
agree
film.
with the test of him listening to me lift your leg.
It just
I'd
annoyed
fucking
me.
lift a leg if
He
somebody
just-
asked me to.
but mostly just his voice annoyed me. Like that. No, just bad.
So Addy hates puberty.
I hate puberty. There we go. Sorry.
I'm giving Ariadne my bronze just because of the unwavering questioning.
I didn't
She's
even
not a
notice
kid.
it the first few times until we did this podcast. I couldn't fucking believe how many questions came out of her mouth.
So much. The little kid is lucky that they're not only in one scene, but they're putting the ice cream in Sarah Connor's apron. This is as much for the adult that was like encouraging the kid.
It was out of nowhere as well.
But that's just horrible behavior. But Ned tried to ruin Friday the 13th by being an absolute wank the entire time.
He did
so
try.
He
fucking did.
Yeah, well, there you go. He gets my gold, was Ned, and I think he's on the cusp of being a kid. I think. Chris.
Yeah. Okay, so my bronze is the little kid that put the ice cream in Sarah Connor's thing. Silver is Ariadne, like start calling the fucking Riddler. And yeah, gold is Ned because he absolutely ruined that film until he died.
Until he died, which was a happy time. How did he go?
Yeah.
I can't remember what his death was.
Oh, you don't even see it happen. He was gone.
Just gone all of a
sudden.
He's the winner. A win for Friday the 13th for most annoying kid. For
his fucking
Ned.
death was annoying because he didn't see it happen.
Best plan is next. As much as we like making fun of bad plans, we like appreciating good plans. So best plan, previous wins. The heist in Logan Lucky, Hans Gruber's plan in Die Hard, John Doe's 7 Deadly Sins, the Gremlins plan to assassinate Mrs. Deagle in Gremlins, and then Donnie's master plan in Den of Thieves was the last winner. This season, nominations: cutting the throat bone out of a troglodyte to use as a sort of beckoning whistle thing.
That was a good plan.
Yeah. The ex-president's bank robbery routine, which they execute flawlessly, and then they disappear for weeks and months, and then they do another one and disappear and all that. I just called it the game in Saw, basically Dr. Lawrence Gordon's
Triple H
game. The game. Yes. The game in Saw, the main reason that Jigsaw does what he does in that particular movie. Going back in time in order to kill the leader of the resistance, John Connor's mother in Terminator. His sharp bend bar in Shanghai Noon.
Okay. You were talking before, I still made no sense. I was like, what?
That's a game changer for Chris.
Yeah. Samara's escape plan in The Ring, how she was going to get out of being stuck down the well. Stealing all the heroin from inside the police lockup at the beginning of Bad Boys by the bad guys. And then The Stranger, which was Tim Robbins, his plan, which Tenacious D used to steal the Pick of Destiny in the Pick of Destiny. I'm lost to who's first. Is it me?
I went last, so it must be you.
Must be me to go first. For best plan, I have 2 that are in there. What is the third, I would say? Bronze, piss shirt bend bar. A good plan, but also eye-opening. I didn't know there was such a thing as that.
I'm definitely using that if I ever get put in jail. I'm just going to do it.
It ultimately worked.
See if it works. Yeah.
It worked, but it didn't get them out of jail. They actually got broken out by Indian wife, if I remember rightly. But they did bend the bars. Silver is going back in time to kill John Connor's mother. I think that was a very good idea by the machines. But John Kramer's plan for the events of the first Saw film, flawlessly executed. I cannot fault that as a plan, Chris.
So oh, right, so spanner works here. So okay, my bronze, I'm gonna go for the cutting the throat bone out of a troglodyte, because if I just kill somebody, I'm not just gonna look at it going, Joe, I'm just gonna rip that out of the fucking throat there and try
I
that.
might need that.
Stick that in my mouth, yeah.
So my silver is going back in time to kill John Connor's mother. But my gold is piss shirt Ben Bar. That's my life motto now. I'm just going to piss in shirts and bend bars.
Okay. You might need to be you might be behind bars a lot if that's what your life motto is. So.
It's worth it. I'm just going to break out. Yeah.
Andy.
Right. This one is it's a lot of good plans here.
Mm.
So I'm going to go for bronze. No, actually, I'm going to go for an honorable mention because the ex-president's bank robbery routine, it's pretty flawless. Like they mastered that for
They fucked
years.
themselves because they decided to deviate from their winning
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So
and it's always the way.
Yeah, it was a good ass plan. They had a system, it worked. However, bronze. Cutting the bone thing out, that blew my mind. Like that is a good ass plan. They heard the call. He's like, I'm gonna cut that out.
Worked out, that's where it came
and then
from.
He uses it.
Yeah.
I love a plan that works. Silver. His shirt Ben bars. Because the way he says it, he shows it, it's executed, the plan works.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to give gold to something. Now, I would normally base it on the film. However, this motherfucker's got 10 of these motherfuckers in a row. And it's every single thing that John Kramer does.
Yeah.
His plans ultimately work. And even when he gets a protege that tries to fuck him, he's got a plan for that shit as well.
Yeah.
The man's a genius, but the first film, that game is executed flawlessly. It is an ultimate plan.
And it is the ultimate winner of Best Plan, is the events of the first Saw movie, a very worthy winner. I think that might be, is that the best twist and best plan, I think, for Jigsaw one back to back.
I've got a new movie idea. Instead of going to kill John Connor and his mum, go back in time to kill Sarah Connor's her dad or mum or whatever.
Right. I thought you were going to say John Kramer's.
I was going to say kill John Kramer, stop the Saw franchise.
You talking about heel
can you imagine John Kramer versus a T-1000?
He'll have thought of that. I'm sure he'll have thought of that. Yeah. Right then, Chris. Let's see if you've got it yet. Best cameo is next. Let's see. It has to be earlier than one time.
9 times out of 10, I'm picking cameos just to fuck with you.
I was going to say, spoiler alert, Chris doesn't know what cameo is, so it's just making up shit.
Oh no! If there's like one I can't think of something, I'll just pick somebody just to fuck with Bruce.
Right.
Just to see how much I can wind them up.
Best cameo. Previous winners: Robert Downey Jr., Sean William Scott, and Robert Forster won it for. I can't remember. Was that Den of Thieves? Was Robert Forster? Anyway, it was him explaining what happened.
No, he was. See, that was Lucky Number 11.
Okay, number 11. Number 11. Nominees this season: Anthony Kiedis in the Red Hot Chili Peppers in Point Break, Daffy Duck and Donald Duck in Roger Rabbit, Hulk Hogan was in Gremlins 2, James Tolkan was a piano player in Bone Tomahawk, Meat Loaf in Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, Michael Bihn's back for Terminator 2 in a deleted scene that's only in some versions, and then Tom Savini, bit of a 10-point podcast cameo this, but he's in half of Friday the 13th, if memory serves right, in various ways. I can't remember. Is it Chris starting? I think it might be.
It's me. See, there's 2 of these I only know because it's in the podcast. James Tolkien and Tom Savini. I have never heard it in my puff until they started coming up in this. So my bronze, because I noticed him instantly, was Anthony Kiedis in Point Break. My silver, just because you never see them in films together, is Daffy Duck and Donald Duck. But my gold, Michael Biehn from Terminator 2.
Ah, okay. Did not expect that. Andy, what's yours?
Right, I'm going for no honorable mentions this time, I don't think, but I'm going for Anthony Kiedis in Point Break. That's the time Red Hot Chili Peppers everybody knew who he was. I'm going for Meat Loaf as silver. But ultimately, it's Hulk Hogan and Gremlins 2. Gold.
I'm not going too far away from that, I don't think. I think James Tolkan needs a shout out, so he's getting a bronze. Because, like Chris says, I know more because of the podcast. Obviously, it's Back to the Future and all that, but it's like for him just
because he appeared in like 2 films like in the same season or something like that.
Yeah, but none of them are Back to the Future, which we've not done yet, I guess. And it's like he's recognizable. I'm like, oh my god, look who it is, and then he's not in the film. Like that's it. It's just there.
Are you drinking Snowbank now, Chris?
I am.
Put it on the podcast. We get a shout out.
If you can
Get
see
some
it,
free-
drink that bad boy. It's fucking awesome.
Aye. Send us more free ones for next points.
My silver,
Sorry,
Meatloaf.
Bruce.
It's all right. I'm letting you get your ads in. Meatloaf in the beginning of Tenacious D is a great cameo and perfect for being Jack Black's dad.
Mhm.
But I'm with Andy. That Hulk Hogan bit, I love that bit of Gremlins 2, and I love that film.
And didn't we discuss in the podcast that wasn't even a bit in some of the things? It was somebody else.
Yeah, the American theatrical version said, I think it was John Wayne. Was it John
Aye,
Wayne?
John Wayne, aye. In the video version.
Or,
something like that.
yeah, in the video version, I think it might be. Yeah,
Aye.
I think so. But Hulk Hogan is the winner. Adding to the list of wrestlers who win awards at the 10 Point
Oh,
Podcast.
Terry
Pointy
Funk,
Awards.
Hulk Hogan, Bill Goldberg.
Bill
What?
Goldberg, I think that's it. Oh, Batista won for supporting
Aye,
actor.
How
in
doesn't
some
The
things.
Rock won anything? Because he was only one fucking.
'Cause
dude.
he was
Worst
only in Doom.
CGI. He won worst CGI in
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's a
in The
winner.
Mummy Returns. So yeah, The Rock won as
So
well. So there's probably
technically,
more.
Triple H is the only person being in a film that's not won anything yet.
You're right. Triple H didn't win for Blade, did he? Or Blade 3.
Here we go.
I don't think any of them are nominated for the next award. Best Inanimate Object, which often comes up on the podcast. Previous winners. Dildo, Tumbleweed, Tooth Cart, Terry Crews's Big Gun, a lightsaber, Batmobile, and a penis gun. The trend there, isn't there?
We love my penis in this podcast.
Where did what come from? The dildo is me, myself, and Irene. Yes, exactly. Best Inanimate Object for season 8. Nominees. Balloon dinosaurs in
Which
Terminator
only
2.
I noticed.
Which only Andy noticed. Billy the Puppet in Saw. Etch-a-Sketch in Elf. The German, which was the spyglass in Bone Tomahawk. The Key to the House in 13 Ghosts. The Pick of Destiny itself in Tenacious D. The Spinning Top Totem from Inception. And then the videotape in The Ring. Now, if I ended, that means Andy is first.
Right. I am going to go for honorable mention. I'm going for the balloon dinosaurs because that stood out to be something wrong.
Completely missed the balloon dinosaurs. I did not see them. So.
Right. Bronze. I am going to go for. I'm going for the German, the spyglass, because it just was funny. It was like 3 or 4 scenes. We all know it's called the German. If you watch that film, it's the German.
And it was really what the Richard Jenkins really wanted it. It's like, oh, and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, the German.
Yeah. Right. Now, I'm not going to go where you think I'm going to go. Technically, it would be another honorable mention, but I'm not even going to go there. Silver, the spinning totem from Inception, because every time I see one of them...
You've started with silver, Andy, so you've thrown me here. So.
All right.
They
No,
did bronze with German, wasn't it?
Bronze was
German. Bronze was a German. Sorry, I was not paying
Silver's
attention.
the totem from Inception, because anytime I see one of them now, it's ingrained in my mind that that's from Inception.
Sort yourself out, Bruce. The two drunkards are keeping you in tow here.
Exactly. However, the ultimate prop is the Pick of Destiny. It's about the film. It's the prop. It looks amazing. It plays some banging tunes. Pick of Destiny gold.
Pick of Destiny is gold.
But an honorable mention is Jigsaw's puppet, but it's not in it enough in the first one.
Right. Okay. So my 3, I'm going. My bronze is the spinning top because, like Andy says, yeah, it's kind of when I think of Inception, I kind of do think of that.
I just see one of them and go Inception. I don't think of the other way around. I go, what's Inception?
Yeah.
I was like, if I think Inception, I think of the spinning rooms. But when I see one of them, I'm like, Inception now.
I'm going for the German as my silver because I thought it was a funny sort of kind of element to the film Bone Tomahawk. But my gold is the aforementioned Billy the Puppet. I think that's why it has persisted throughout the rest, is how cool of a sort of image it gave in the first film.
I just don't think it's in enough, the first one.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good amount. He does also cycle his little tricycle in that one as well, which I didn't think he did. So, Chris.
So my bronze. It's going to be Etch-a-Sketch because I like Etch-a-Sketches. I had one when I was a kid and I lost it.
I'm buying you one for Christmas or your birthday, whenever it's first.
Done. 10 days apart.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a joint present. Expensive them things.
My silver.
That's like when I bought you a Mickey Mouse watch.
It's still in my thing over there.
Mickey.
I might just disappear and go get it. What am I doing? My silver is. I'm going to go with the German spyglass. These have sold it to me. My gold is the spinning top from Inception.
Oh,
Oh, that's going to throw some shit around, isn't it?
it does.
Excuse
I
me,
think
well,
that
we'll
mean-
get Mickey.
It's
I
Mickey.
believe that
All
means that
Christmas presents are podcast related presents these days.
That means that the spinning top from Inception is the winner by virtue of a gold over a silver vote ahead of the German, which I thought was a bit of a dark horse there. I didn't think the
It
German
was a
was
dark
going to.
horse, but no, I think the spinning top's the right thing.
Spinning top's the right best inanimate object. I still dispute that it. I still think it didn't make sense for Cobb to take it on after it was Maul's
No.
totem as well. It didn't make
No.
sense because that meant that more than one person knew how heavy it was and all that
I've
sort
got
of
too
stuff.
fat.
Okay,
Doesn't
he's
fit me.
watching. Is it still working?
Chris is trying to,
Is it
to
broken?
model
That
his
still
Killed it.
works, yeah. I just got too fat. It doesn't fit me.
It doesn't fit you anymore. Okay.
You try and find a red strap. It's pretty hard.
Carry on. I'll get it on at some point during this podcast.
Okay. Michael Pena Award for the best telling of a story is next. Previous winners, Amy Dunn and Gone Girl. Chuck. I don't know what that is. The hell's Chuck?
Huh? Where are we?
Chuck. Is it Chunk?
You
I
see
think it
Chunk?
might be Chunk from the Goonies, maybe.
Oh, Chunk Fry, yeah,
Uh,
talking about the Babe Ruth
yeah.
day, like when he's eating,
Yeah,
the
I
whole
think
thing.
all the things he did wrong in his life. I don't know why it
Yes.
says Chuck.
Chuck,
Because I've not actually changed that, so that should be Chunk. Quint from Jaws, the tattoo story, Dog Soldiers.
That's the best
Why Kate hates Christmas and Gremlins? I'd argue that might be the best one. And then Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley said talking about the Super Cops story from Beverly Hills Cop. Nominees for this season. I've gone with the actor first because I realize it's called the Michael Pena Award because he tells the story. So these are all the actors and then the story they told. Ben Stiller, The History of the Pick of Destiny in Tenacious D. Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees explains it all at the end of it's called Friday the 13th. Bob Newhart tells the tale of Buddy the Elf. He's our narrator. Christopher Maloney, Gene's confession in Wet Hot American Summer in the kitchen area. Michael Biehn tells us of the future in The Terminator. Richard Jenkins talks of the flea circus in Bone Tomahawk. And then Sam Elliott tells us all about the dude in The Big Lebowski. I have lost where we are. Is it Chris to go first?
No idea.
Shit.
I don't know. Did I go last in that last one? No, I didn't. It was Andy went last. So it's Chris to go first.
So, off the bat, I'll go bronze Michael Biehn and tell them about the future Terminator. My silver, I will go for Christopher Maloney, Gene's Confession of Wet Hot American Summer, and my gold will be Ben Still in the Pick of Destiny.
Right, okay. Andy.
It carry on.
It's late.
How
How many hours into the Pointy
It's
survey?
late.
Right. Bronze. I am gonna go for Yeah. Michael Biehn. Don't know.
Can't
what
hear
he
you,
said.
Chris. It'd be a lot like you're talking about your microphone.
Yeah, right. Anyway, bronze. I'm going for Michael Biehn talking about the future.
Mm-hmm.
Silver. Sam Elliott talking about the dude because that man's got a nice Western voice. I like that voice.
He does have a lovely voice.
But Ben Stiller, the history of the Pick of Destiny, unbelievable performance. Virgin on a
Right.
cameo performance.
Definitely a cameo, I would say. And that wins it for the Pick of Destiny without me voting. So it doesn't really matter what I do now. I was also going Michael Biehn as well. I thought he was quite good at that, but he gets my bronze. It was like, oh yeah, Bob Newhart. I thought he was a good narrator. No, I'll tell you, that's not where I was going with that. I'm going to go Richard Jenkins was my silver. The flea circus stories were quite
Close,
funny in
aye.
Bone Tomahawk. But Sam Elliott, for the reasons Andy, that it's real, and also I do like that he just kind of rambles about nothing and then kind of gives
Yeah.
up on telling, which is quite funny. But yeah, either way, Ben Stiller was always winning for the Pick of Destiny. Ben Stiller, the Michael Pena Award winner, and a good little kind of cameo appearance, which also helps with Michael Pena to come in, tell a story, and leave is quite good. 2 awards for us to vote on. And 2 very, very, very hotly contested. This is why I left these 2 at the end. And there is a difference. So if you can't see what the next 2 awards are on your ballots,
Nope.
remember there's a difference. There is a
Winging it
difference.
now.
Best villain is
Oh.
next. Previous winners of
This
best
This is
villain.
one podcast, by the way.
Betty was the first winner of best villain. Mayor Vaughn from Jaws, John Doe from Seven, Quaritch from Avatar, and then Dante. Do you know who Dante is, perchance?
Yeah. Clerks.
Not that
No.
one.
No?
That was a different
No.
Dante.
Oh, Dante we had.
Shows how good this guy was, and I'm so glad he won in landslides in the last Pointy Awards.
Fast X.
Yeah, Jason
Yeah,
Momoa
yeah,
in Fast
Jason
X.
Momoa, yeah.
See how long that lived in the memory. The two of you's forgotten who he is already as
I
the
knew
best
he
villain.
was. I was just
Yeah.
Chris was
I
like,
forgot his
doing
name.
this. I was like, what's
Very
he
good.
doing? I was just thinking Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa was the last one. Yes. Best villain nominees for this season. The Devil in Tenacious D, Jigsaw in Saw, Judge Doom in Roger Rabbit, Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Samara in The Ring, The Terminator in The Terminator, but the T-1000 in Terminator 2, and The Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz.
This is like if I was making like a Dead by Daylight game. This is bad guys right here. This
It's
is your
like
villains.
which 8 people would you least want after you in the world? It's like in history, and it's this
Yeah.
8.
It
And
is.
I genuinely don't know where to go with it. I have no idea.
Who's first?
I
Is
think
it
it's
you?
me,
I went first
unfortunately.
last time, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Andy then. Andy's
Oh
first.
shit, son. Right. Let's try this. Oh. Right.
Impossible, this one, I
Right.
think.
I'm going for
Impossible.
an honorable mention because I don't class him as a villain. They're semi a good guy, but it's Jigsaw, right?
Right, okay. Through lack of villainy.
He's a villain per se, but I like a lot of his ethos.
You make a solid point. You do make a solid point. That might change my my
Right,
approach to this.
so
Then.
there's a lot of ethos in him, right? So I'm going for an honorable mention. Wicked Witch of the West is a bronze, utter just
Right.
bellend for no apparent reason.
Just to be evil.
Yeah. Oh, right. I'm trying to work out who's got a reason to be a bellend here. Oh. Right. Silver's Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Right,
Because
okay.
he's a toon trying to kill toons. Like,
That was it, yeah.
he's a bit of a dick.
He didn't make it into Best Twist, by the way. That was an eliminated
Yeah.
nominee for Best Twist. Was that he
However,
was
Should have been. That was
The
a banger twist.
T-1000 from T2 is the villain.
right.
Because
Is that the gold?
he's a gold. Because ultimately, he just disappears for half the film. They don't care about him. But he's so villainous, he just comes back in and it's
I'm
like,
not
I've
good.
got helicopter bitches, I'm going to kill you.
Very
So,
good.
but-
Now, very good. Thank you very much, Andy. I agree with you. I probably may have put Jigsaw as my gold, but you've convinced me, yes, that he actually is honorable mention only and is not. He shouldn't
No.
be best villain
He's-
because he's kind of not the villain.
Because that's that literally, if it happens to me, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to put some people in predicaments, get themselves out of it. I wouldn't class myself as a villain in that situation. I'm just doing God's work.
I'm gonna go bronze as Leatherface because he genuinely kind of has no reason to
Well,
be as.
I was going to pick him. He was going to be another
Villainous.
honorable mention because ultimately the family made him.
Yeah. But then he's just like downright bad because of
Yes.
that. I'm not voting Samara like for the same reasons for Samara, but I'm going Leatherface. I like him better.
Mm.
Not a pity vote, but a silver vote this time for the Wicked Witch of the West. She is an all-time, and I was scared of her when I was a kid, which is a big
I
difference.
think you're the
maker.
only person who's voted for Wizard of Oz.
I think so.
No,
You
I
guys
just
just
wa-
don't
I just give her
appreciate classic
bronze.
cinema.
Oh, did you? Oh,
In
That's her
fact,
bronze
Andy
there.
did give her just give her
my
a bronze.
brain's kind of shut down a little bit.
But my gold is I agree with Andy. T-1000. I think when it comes to movie villains, it's kind of unbeatable. Is the T-1000 from Terminator 2?
The thing that gets the clinches my gold vote on him is just the malice of just killing the family. Just like, I'm just going to replicate your mummy or fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you're done. And then kill it. Like, I'm presuming that dog's dead as well. Because like when he's pissed off at the dog's like, oh, fucking hell.
Max,
find out about
Max
Wolf
stood
Die.
for-
Yeah, that's a
You heard
villain.
it
right
die.
there.
Like,
Yeah,
t-
that's right.
cereal.
It
Yeah,
does.
that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Killing a good boy is just bad. Bad news.
Right, Chris. Round us out. See if you can somehow
I
vote
don't
something
know
that
if he
beats
can
the
do it. He's
T1000.
pissed.
I don't think you can do it.
My bronze is I'm gonna go for the Terminator. No, fuck it, Leatherface. He was a bit shit.
Right.
He's a bit shit, so he got bronze.
Yeah, he's not gold worthy or
All
silver
right.
worthy. He's bronze worthy.
Okay,
He's a bit shit.
there's levels to this. Yeah.
There's levels.
Silver is Judge Doom because that fucker gave me nightmares when I was a kid.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And gold, I'm going for the original Terminator.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
controversy.
It doesn't change anything. T1000 is
doesn't.
still absolutely the winner.
Because he knew he wasn't going to kill them. That's my
I
only
suppose,
thing about it.
yeah. That's the thing, but yeah, does it? Would a good villain have won? And how many films actually does the villain win? But yeah, Jigsaw, if he is the villain, he wins. So other than that, and then
It does,
Samara.
but like I
Yeah.
said, I'm still like, he's doing God's work. He's karma.
Yeah,
don't-
exactly. Yeah, you're right. And then by the 10th one, he's the hero, basically.
Yes.
so
Yeah.
anyway,
What film?
T1000
What
for
film, by the
Terminator 2, best villain, can't argue.
I feel like
Now on to
Saw
it.
should get an honorable mention in this award ceremony here.
Yeah,
The Saw franchise is just it's ingrained in our memories.
very much. Same for the Terminators for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's why the two of them this year kind of muddies the water a bit here. Biggest Bell End. This is different from Best Villain. Previous winners of Biggest Bell End: John Hammond, the bitchy customer from Waiting, and then the deaf guy from Human Race was the last winner of Biggest
He
Bell
was
End.
such a dick, and you didn't even get the subtitles.
I didn't get the subtitles, so I had no idea what he was saying.
He was
So I already knew he was.
He was 1,000 times worse with them subtitles.
Yes, exactly. So nominees for Biggest Bell End. I'll try my best to kind of work to explain why they are bell ends. Audrey in Godzilla. Do you remember why she's a bell end? Because she
Cocktease of ultimate proportions.
Well,
Weren't she?
no.
there was that.
He proposed, she rejected it and ran away. Then she saw him on TV and went, "Oh, he's famous. I'm going to get a story here."
Yeah.
Then
He looked
stole
handsome
all
on the
of his
television.
fucking things
Yeah.
And
and got kicked out
was
of
it.
his job.
Yeah.
That was exactly it. He was working for the government, and she exposed all his government secrets and got him kicked out, which is mainly for her own career gain to be a TV presenter. Cyrus in 13 Ghosts, because basically he's sacrificed it, faked his death so that he could sacrifice his family to have ultimate power. Dr. Silberman in the Terminator, i.e. the first Terminator, you can probably include what he did in the second one too if you want. Just generally being a bell end and being quite horrible. Franklin in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, who just because he's in a wheelchair doesn't mean he has the right to be a complete dick the entire time. And he was just, the bit where he sat in the wheelchair in that house just blowing a raspberry for about a minute straight of the film. I'm like, I just would want nothing to do with him like everybody else.
You kind of got to platinum levels right here now, Bruce.
Platinums.
Okay. But then I've now got Glinda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz, who we deep down worked out her plan was to trick Dorothy into killing all her enemies and giving her, because she knew the ruby slippers.
Yep.
Take the ruby slippers.
Yep.
Then she has no contact with Dorothy for the entire film, and at the end, you've had the answer all along, Dorothy. Click your heels together with those slippers that you've had since the beginning that I gave to you, and you can just go home. She could have told Dorothy right there and then, click your heels together, you can go home, but she didn't. Julie in Bad Boys, Tia Leone, basically for complaining about absolutely everything the two bad boys did the entire time in the film, even when it contradicted what she'd previously complained about with them, so her just being a bad influence. Kate in Wet Hot American Summer, that was Marguerite Moreau, if that helps you remember which one she wasn't, I guess it would be. As Andy said earlier, cock-teasing our main man the entire way through, falling in love with him, giving all time, I devote my life and love to you, and then the next day just leaving with Paul Rudd. Yes. Maul and Inception. Need I say any more than Maul just ruining Inception? Ned in Friday the 13th for just being a complete dick the entire time. And then Rachel, which is Naomi Watts in The Ring, basically because she unleashes the ring. She starts recording tapes and sending them out so that it will continue. I think Chris is to go first. I could be wrong.
Good luck. Oh, look, Mickey's
A lot
right.
of bell ends this year. One who just missed out was the bell from the clock tower in Shanghai. It just missed out. It was
Right.
almost.
So my bronze, just because he was a dick in the entire film, is Ned from Friday the 13th. My silver is Cyrus from 13 Ghosts. That's a fucking major dick move, that.
Yeah,
But
very much so.
because I hated her so much from the first time I watched the film to this one even more, is Audrey from Godzilla.
Right, biggest
Right.
bell end.
I'm going next. Whatever Chris said.
Right, exactly the same.
Carbon copy for all the reasons he said. 100%.
Right. So that's Ned, then Cyrus, then Audrey.
Yep.
I just want to point out here that this is the proof here for biggest bell end that biggest bell end is not gender specific. As in, most of the nominees were actually women this season for biggest bell end. So equal opportunity. We don't care. We don't mind calling out a woman for being a dick
These
as well.
bastards.
Yes, exactly. But saying that, that's only Kate. Kate gets a vote from me. She gets my bronze because I was outraged at her behavior at the end of that film.
Sure.
That's not very
For
funny.
the way she like double backed like overnight, and it was the one time I actually felt bad for our main man in that film. Ned does Ned? Oh, there's a lot here. Oh, jeez. I need to get Glinda in because I love that plot line that she could have just sent Dorothy home, so she's getting a silver. I'm not changing things here because I'm not voting for Audrey, so she's already won. So I can go to a personal favorite. I think Moll tries to ruin Inception, so she's getting my gold. Audrey is the winner, and yes, this time I don't think I ever really remembered her until this viewing of that film. How horrible she was.
She really was.
Horrible to poor Matthew Broderick. Audrey from Godzilla. I don't know the actress's name. She was biggest bell end of the season, and that is the last vote that we're going to do on the Pointies. It's about time. We've been going for days here at this stage.
Yep.
A long time, the Mickey says. I feel like the Terminator's been a big winner. I feel like Saw's been a big winner. I feel like Inception's kind of picked up a couple, but Friday the 13th maybe. But yeah, a lot of I'll find out by the start of the season what was the big winner here. But talking of big winners, the biggest award of the whole reason we do the podcast is to rate films out of 10 points. Not quite as clear as the bottom end, but there's still a top 4 that I can get out for us. Put it this way, films I selected made the top 4, and films that Andy selected made the top 4. Chris, unfortunately, you were very mid-table this year. So you were celebrating not being at the bottom, but you're also not at the top. So, top 4. 7 out of 10 was good enough to get in the top 4 for this season. We've basically got a tie. The third and fourth films literally have the same votes from the same people. The same scores from the same people. But by virtue of me picking Gremlins 2 The New Batch, I think that is fourth with 7 out of 10. Gremlins 2 The New Batch. I don't know how Andy also thinks that's an 8 out of 10. I can't believe that a film that I thought was 8 out of 10, Andy also thinks an 8 out of 10. But Gremlins The New Batch was fourth. In third place, with exactly the same votes, by virtue of the pick of destiny selecting it and not me, it goes third. Saw is 7 out of 10, is the third best film, which I thought might be higher. But there's a theme with the top 2 films of the season. And it kind of goes dun 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 dun. That's the theme. 8 out of 10 in second place, a 9 from Chris, an 8 from me, a 7 from Andy. The Terminator, the first Terminator film. Meaning, we all knew it was coming. The top film of the year, or the season, chosen by Andy, ahead of Chris, ahead of me, who also wanted to pick this film. A 9 from Andy, a perfect 10 from me, a perfect 10 from Chris, a 10 overall, but not a perfect 10. Terminator 2.
Can you imagine if they got somebody else other than fucking Edward Furlong to play this? It would be perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that bad.
If they had Christian Bale playing him, it would be a 10 out of 10 across the board. But Terminator 2, Judgment Day, a 10.
A long game if you got him to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a 10 for Terminator means it is the best film of season 8. But where does that fit in on the all-time top 10?
It's not the best film ever made, but it's my all-time favorite film.
You're correct. So the 10th best film ever made, from season 6, made in 1980, a perfect 10 for me. The Shining got an 8 out of 10 from the panel. meaning it's the 10th best. The 9th best from season 5, made in 1999. A 9 from Andy meant that Dogma is an 8 out of 10. 8th best film of all time from season 5 as well, 1980 again. A 9 from Andy again. The Blues Brothers is the 8th best film of all time.
Look at Chris's face.
From season 8, made in 1984, we've just mentioned it. A 9 from Chris means The Terminator. It's the 7th best film. So The Terminator actually cracked the top 10, which I thought was interesting.
Hey, boy.
Season 5, 1977 is the 6th best film. No high scores from anyone because we all gave it an 8. Star Wars, or Star Wars A New Hope. Top 5. Season 4, 1986, a 10 from Chris. A 9 from Andy. Aliens is a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
4th best film of all time. Season 4, 1994. A 10 from Chris. A 10 from me, but only a 7 from Andy means Forrest Gump is only a 9 out of 10 and is the 4th best film. And that is the highest rated film that we didn't pick, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it was the wheel of random movies picked Forrest Gump. The top 3 films, all picked by Andy.
Oh, yes,
The top three films, all a 10 from the panel. 3rd best, season 4, 1988. 10 from Andy, 10 from Chris, and 9 from me. Die Hard, 3rd best film of all time. 2nd best, season 8, 1991. See above, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, the 2nd best film. Because Andy only gave it a 9, but the only film ever to get a 10, a 10, and a 10, a 10 overall. Season 5, big year, season 5. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 films in the top 10 picked in season 5. 1993's Jurassic Park, the only perfect 10 movie.
I'm calling this a win, by the way. Like, I might have had the worst in this season and then the best in this season, but overall, picking the top 3, that's fuck you all.
You've got the best 3 films. Jurassic Park, Terminator 2, and Die Hard are in that order the best films.
This is what happens when you watch every film ever made since Die Hard.
The tiebreaker between Terminator and Die Hard is that you pick both of them. So therefore, when I break a tie, I take away the person who picked them's votes. And because I like Terminator as a 10 and Die Hard as a 9, that's why it's second over Die Hard. So that was the tiebreaker. But yeah, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is second best film of all time. But talking about best of all time, the final thing for us to decide, the 10 Point Podcast Hall of Fame inductee for the season. The Hall of Fame looks like this: Wesley Snipes, Peter Dinklage, Ryan Reynolds, Grandale Bush, Carrie Fisher, Jeff Anderson, and Bruce Willis are the 7.
Like, the 2 of them, Peter Dinklage only because of the game, and Ryan Reynolds is purely because we're obsessed with Ryan Reynolds.
yes.
Dinklage deserved everything he got.
Yeah, I'll agree with Dinklage. Reynolds hasn't done enough yet. Although, now that we've done Just Friends, he does deserve it.
There you go. So well done, Chris. You've argued yourself back to where you started again. The 5 nominees. I think the problem I had is that there's 2 kind of front runners. So I did what I liked with some other ones here. But I think everyone kind of deserves it. And I know 1 or 2 are going to rub some people the wrong way. First nominee, by virtue of being in The Terminator, The Running Man, Total Recall, Terminator 2, Last Action Hero, asterisk, and The Expendables, Arnold Schwarzenegger back on the ballot. The main star in 1, 2, 3, 4 big films we've done on the big films, including 2 of the top 10.
Yet, I don't think.
No,
there's going to be more Arnie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, a nominee, 10 Point Podcast Hall of Fame. Second nominee, links to the podcast through Batman Begins, The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, and as a target of hate from Andy, Christopher Nolan is the next.
I feel like we should add him just for pure hatred. Every time he comes up, I'm just like,
I think he has a shout for fame on the podcast. Christopher Nolan does. So he's there. Next, by virtue of being in Gremlins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Tremors, Gremlins 2, DuckTales, Tack Girl, Mortal Kombat, and Godzilla, Frank Welker, he of the making funny noises and animal noises and things, is the next nominee. I'm sorry, Chris. I still have no faith that your guy who's a pedestrian and everything is actually a pedestrian and everything. So therefore, he's out. So I don't deny the internet, but I deny whoever put it on the internet that's actually. And also, I dare you to pick him out. It's like, you tell me who he is.
I'm going to go through every film and just like
Yeah.
circle his face.
If you do that, then he's in it. So Frank Welker, by doing animal noises and all these sort of things, is next. Next, by virtue of being in The Cable Guy and The Pick of Destiny, but individually being in Demolition Man, Waterworld, Idle Hands, Evolution, and Elf, Tenacious D are the next nominations. Yes, both of them are in The Cable Guy as well as that. Jack Black, Demolition Man, Jack Black, Waterworld, Kill Gas, Idle Hands, Evolution, and Elf. So Tenacious D. And the final nominee, by virtue of being the main star of Elf and of Semi-Pro, and also being one of the memorable main stars of Old School, Will Ferrell, I think, is the final nominee, and maybe deserving because he carried two films that we have done on the podcast. Will Ferrell, and it's the first year he's eligible, and I feel like he's the first ballot nominee for the Hall of Fame, Will Ferrell. They are the five. Schwarzenegger, Noland, Welker, Tenacious D, and Ferrell are the five. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, I mentioned halfway through one of the episodes that I think a duo should be named it because they have been separately and I didn't realize together in one film. Kyle Gass and Jack Black should be getting it.
I'm kind of. I'm with Chris. Like they have appeared in a lot. They deserve it. I would also put a ballot in for Arnie because he was in our first one, and the unsung one. He's gave us some memories.
They're the two. They're the two. The thing with Schwarzenegger, he'll come up again, but we did Terminator and Terminator 2 this season.
Yeah.
And he's the man in those two films. And like Total Recall, we love Total Recall. Running Man was hilarious. We did Last Action Hero first before the podcast started.
He was the one that started it.
So,
I think I'm leaning towards Arnie.
Tenacious D may have to wait until Jack Black is Jack Black separately in something else, and then we'll do them because Kyle Gass is done. He won't be in anything else to Kyle Gass, but
I don't know. He appears. I watched something the other day. He was in something.
Ferrell has to wait until everybody's favorite Will Ferrell movie comes up. I think that's why he has to wait. Frank Welker, thanks, Frank. See you later. Can Chris convince Andy that Noland maybe could go in? Because I think I could be convinced Christopher Noland could go in because of how much Andy talks about him and hates him.
He's a bad director. Yes, he's probably going to win an Oscar, and he probably deserves it in Oppenheimer. Everything else, then, when he's a director, a writer, a producer, those three, he fucks up.
Andy, you're giving us fuel here. This is more.
See, for the fact that Andy hates him, put him in. But there's going to be one film that's going to come up that's going to tip him the scales in his favor anyway.
Perfect. Right, we'll leave that then. We'll leave him. So we're picking between the D and Schwarzenegger.
Well, I'm Tenacious D. I think he's I've already picked.
I'm Arnie.
I think it's Arnie. I think I came in probably a couple of weeks ago when Chris first mentioned it, and I had the exact same idea. I would have said Tenacious D, but I didn't know Terminator 2 was coming.
See, my thinking is in May we're going to go see Tenacious D. We could have taken an award and be like, "You won!"
Just holding it when we're seeing Tenacious D. Like I said, they deserve a massive mention, like for what they've done, and like I said, but I don't think Jack Black's done yet.
Yeah, you're right.
I think I've got a couple of films of him on my list.
Jack Black deserves. Yeah. There's more Jack Black to come. I think
presumably Arnie isn't either. There's one or two I want to do, but I think this is the Arnold Schwarzenegger season. I think this is
double Terminator, unwritten podcast, but the unaired podcast. So we say, I think Arnie's got it.
We've got to. If Bruce Willis is in, we need to have Arnold Schwarzenegger in as well. I think so. I agree. The only argument would be this is maybe the Kyle Gass season as well, because to me, Elf is his second biggest role. But Schwarzenegger, I'm happy. Arnold Schwarzenegger, welcome to the 10 Point Podcast Hall of Fame. Very much deserved. Could not have done it without him, I think, would be one way to do it. Season 9 coming up very, very soon. No, I was thinking. Season 9 coming up very, very soon. We will be back in your earballs and eyeballs very soon with a new episode of the 10 Point Podcast for Season 9. I believe Chris and I definitely have a theme for what we're picking. I don't know if Andy has a theme.
Yes, 100%.
We all have a theme that we'll be trying to guess throughout the season. Andy has opted to go first. So, Andy, what is the first selection? What are we watching prior to episode 1?
At the start of this, before we pressed record, I had a film in my head and I was going to pick it. As we talked, I swayed and
Oh,
I've added one because ultimately I just want a bit of fun. I'm going to start off the season with fun. And there isn't another film that will give us so much fun, so much to talk about. It's going to be a long ass podcast because we're going to be talking about so much
Oh,
stuff
right.
that's going on in this film.
oh no.
I shall start listing some names on this film. Okay,
Oh, God.
it's one of my favorite go-to films when I need a bit of joy. And trust me, I
Okay.
need a bit of joy right now.
I'm going to guess Ghostbusters.
I'm
Carry
going to put it on, and we're all going to have a good time. It stars. I say stars. It's a list of just names. Here we go. Sean
This is a
William
really
Scott.
big build-up.
Sean William Scott.
Oh,
Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Eliza Dushku, Chris Rock, Will Ferrell, Matt Damon, Jason Lee, Ben Affleck, Jason Mewes, Kevin Smith, Jane Silent Bob,
Jane
Strike
Silent
Back.
Bob Strike Back.
It is a film with everybody in it, and I just feel like we're going to start the season as we mean to go on with just a general good time. Some bands,
Yes.
some fucked up shit, some
a
laughs.
film I've
and,
never seen.
and you've never
Never
seen
seen
Jane
it.
Silent Bob Strike Back.
I don't remember it.
Here we
Really?
go. Strap in, boys,
Perfect.
because Chris's mind's going to be blown.
Yes, this is right. Yeah,
This
a
might
good
blow
road
his little
movie. We love a good movie on a journey as well. They go on a trip in this basically. So yeah, Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. Kevin Smith, maybe he's back in the running for the Hall of Fame
Might be.
starting a new season.
Don't
We've
get me
done a lot of
wrong,
him.
we're out of sync. I think we've only done, what was it, Clerks 2, Dogma. We're out of
Yeah.
sync. So Chris might not get some of the gags.
Me too.
That was my plan to watch them all.
You were going to watch them all in
Good.
order, but this one steps out. I think you got Jersey Girl, Mallrats, something else in between, but then you got Jane Silent
Chasing
Bob,
Amy?
So Chasing
Chasing
Amy, yeah,
Amy
that's
might
the one.
come.
So yeah.
I've not
But
seen
you'll
it. I've
get-
not seen Jersey Girl. So
You'll get the gist of it. It's just
yeah,
it's just a
exactly.
fun- it's a fun film, and I just need a bit
So
of
there you
fun.
have it. Jane Silent Bob Strike Back, first episode of the new season, back with a bang, I would imagine. And then you'll have however much time it is between this and that coming out to watch Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. And we'll see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.